All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to WVRC 104.7 FM's live streaming coverage and live coverage of Election Night 2024. We are in the evening session of the primary election for the state of West Virginia, for national election coverage, and also for the very important local races that we know a lot of people are looking forward to getting the updated results from as quickly as possible. My name is Andrew Miller alongside Joe McDonald with A&M Digital Technologies. Very happy that we could provide this coverage here tonight. What we are doing is we are going to try to get you the updates of the races that are most important to those of you out there, and we'll try to get that in real time for you, try to keep those results updated as quickly as possible. We do want to remind you, if you have any questions about any of the races, we'll try to get the information as quickly as we can to you. We want you to follow us on YouTube and on Facebook. We are live right now. If you're out in Radio Land, we are live on our YouTube and on our Facebook coverage right now. And we are live on TikTok. Might be a little difficult to see questions there, but we do want to invite you to join us on Facebook or YouTube and send us a comment, a question in the comments section. We've got it pulled up right beside us. We'll try to get as much information as quickly as we can to you about whatever race you find is your most important, and we're very excited and very thankful for the people here at the Roane County Courthouse for letting us come here and letting us set up wherever we need to set up to get the information to you as quickly as possible. Joe, we've got a lot to cover here tonight. Of course, right now it's kind of the calm before the storm because polls haven't even closed yet.
Right.
Let's talk about that. Polls are closing soon, and then what is about to happen?
Okay, so yeah, it's funny that you say it's the calm before the storm because as I was driving into town, town's dead. I mean, basically, it almost looks like a Sunday evening. Everybody's at home getting ready to work for Monday ordeal because usually about this time everybody's just rushing ball games and evening and getting off work.
Now, I did see ball games going on over at Williams Field over there.
Yeah. But for the most part, town's like eerily quiet.
It is.
So give it about another 45 minutes, and boy, howdy, you think somebody left a gate open, the cars this will be Grand Central Station here within about 45 minutes. So right now, if you're listening or watching us, there is still time to vote. If you have not voted yet, you still have plenty of time. You have about 45 minutes. The polls close at 7:30 on the dot. There's no, I'll wait till 7:35. No, the everything shuts off at 7:30, and that's a state ruling. The machines are calibrated to shut off at 7:30.
And they have to do that because they've got to get those poll workers to get the information here to the county clerk's office. And Cena McDonald and her crew have been really diligent in prepping for tonight. This took a lot more time than just tonight. There's going to be runners back and forth. We're going to have runners from her staff that bring us the information as quickly as we can get it. Now, there is one thing that we do need to address, of course, and that is the change in rules and regulations as to what we are allowed to broadcast over the airways and, of course, on our streams. The rule used to be that we were able to give you individual precinct results. So let's say it was a precinct out in southern Roane County at Walton.
Yes.
We were allowed to give you the breakdown of those precincts individually to see what candidate was winning, what candidate was losing in those precincts. That is no longer the case. The only thing we're going to be able to give you guys here tonight, and it will still be wonderful, is total results. So if they get 4 or 5 precincts in, you won't hear us say anything about precinct 1, 2, 3, or 4. You'll just hear us say, okay, after the updated precincts have come in, we have the total results at this moment for whoever is winning and losing these races.
Right, and that is something that was not a decision made by this office. This actually came out of Charleston. This is a state regulation, and it's actually West Virginia State Code 3-4A-27, proceedings at the Central Counting Center. And the rule states that precinct reports cannot be handed out on election night because basically these results we get tonight, we read them, but they're considered unofficial.
Yes.
And they are not considered official results until next week when a process called canvassing occurs. And what canvassing is everybody comes back in that had a hand in on election night.
Yes.
And they go through and reprocess the ballots to make sure all those numbers that they got on election night match up on canvass day. Now, given there may be some late absentees, and when I say late absentee meaning that the absentee ballot was mailed out today. If it has a stamp timestamp of
Yes.
today. If it comes in Friday, it still counts. Now, if somebody waits till tomorrow morning to mail out that late ballot, that ballot is null and void because it wasn't cast on election day. So you may still have a few late absentee ballots to come in. Just you run those through, check those. And then there's some what they call provisional ballots. And a provisional ballot is you're not voting at your registered precinct for whatever reason. And the way the provisional ballots go, if you go to a polling place and say, I want a provisional ballot, you have to fill out a form explaining why you need a provisional ballot, and then the county commission on canvass day makes that decision if that provisional ballot counts or not. So there's a few extra steps going on the next week during canvass. That's really not a big issue unless you have a contest that is close. When I say close, I'm talking 10 votes or less. That's a nail biter. We love it because it makes it an interesting night on our end. But for the candidates,
we're all about that drama.
Yeah, but for the candidates, it makes a bad night worse.
Yes. It's already stressful enough for these candidates. But you get a close race. It comes down to the wire, and it may go to another count, a recount, things like that. And that's just brutal for them, wonderful for us.
Yeah. They think come midnight tonight, it's all going to be said and done one way or the other. And you get that 2 to 3 vote difference at the end of the night, it gets scary.
Well, Joe, let's talk about this while we're on the radio. And again, I want to thank everybody who has tuned in on all of our platforms. There is no way that you cannot get the election coverage here for WVRC. We've got it all covered. If you want to listen on WVRC's radio, it's just 104.7 FM on the dial. Got to thank my worker, Marissa, who is up there right now running the board, and she is getting us on the air. That also allows us to be live on our website. So if you're not in the listening area for the radio station, but you want to hear results coming in on the radio, all you got to do is go to WVRCFM.com. That is our website. You pull up the website, and right there on the front of the website, there's a play button. You hit that play button, you can listen to our content from now through whenever, and you can listen to it anywhere. We've got a great coverage area for that, but we also want to invite you to tune into us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be going back and forth on the radio, Joe, but we will be staying live throughout the entirety of the evening for Facebook and YouTube. The reason we're doing that is we want to interact. We want people to comment on the broadcast. We want people to ask questions. If there are questions that they missed and they want to have some things answered for, or if they just have general questions, or if they just want to say, love what you guys are doing.
Right.
We invite you to comment in the comment section below both of our videos. We always love the interaction. It helps us out as well, the more interaction we get. Like, share this video. Get the eyes on it. Get more people to view this, and more people may have a question they didn't know they could get answered here immediately.
Right. And we have a couple Drew and I, we've made some contacts to some folks in some other counties because there are some contests being ran tonight that our county isn't the only county that's being impacted. So we've reached out and made some contacts in other counties. So on those particular races, we're going to try our best to get updates in those other counties too. So if you get a better idea overall on how those contests run.
Well, let's get into that nitty-gritty kind of stuff. There are 2 big races that I know a lot of people in Roane County are really thinking about, really keeping their eyes on, of course, at 7:30 when those ballots start to roll in. The one race that is hotly contested right now is for 5th Judicial Circuit Judge between the incumbent Anita Ashley and Josh Downey, who is the prosecuting attorney for Roane County right now. Now, that is a race that isn't just affecting Roane County. That's 4 counties that are being affected, parts of 4 counties, Mason, Calhoun County, Roane County, and
Jackson County. Yeah, that's one of those races where it gets really scary. And actually, to make things a little more easier for everybody to understand tonight, Drew, you want me to kick this over real quick?
Yeah, let's go ahead and show what we're going to be showing through these races throughout the night. Joe McDonald does a great job, and he has been prepping for this night. And so, again, the fact that we can't do precincts, that doesn't mean we still can't give you a good graphic of the overall updated race numbers. So what you're going to see is throughout these races, you take a look on the screen right now. It's the nonpartisan ballot election of Judge, Circuit Court, 5th Judicial Circuit. You see 0 and 0. Down at the bottom, you see Josh Downey, and you see Anita Harold Ashley. Well, Josh is in blue. Anita is in orange.
Yes.
Gets easy to see. Now, once we start plugging those numbers in, you're going to see the pie chart show up. It's a very easy visual for
Yeah.
guys like me who it has to be easy.
Yeah, and I like where all I have to do is put in the real numbers that we get from the clerk's office, and it does the tabulation. Looks like I know what I'm doing, so it works out well. But going back to this particular race, this is one of these races where it gets scary because one candidate, regardless of which side it's on, could be pulling a huge lead in Roane County. Doesn't mean they may necessarily win that seat, because just because they win by a lot in Roane County, they may lose all three other counties.
Yeah,
or they may split counties, and that gets really scary.
That's why we're going to do the best we can to try to get information from those other counties. It may happen, it may not. We can't promise anything. We're just going to do the best we can to get those. If not, you'll at least see Roane County results for that very, very hotly contested and very exciting race between those two. Now, there is another race locally that affects Roane County, but it also affects Calhoun County and Wirt County.
Yes.
And that is going to be the Republican nominee. There is a Democrat nominee
right.
For the House of Delegates. Of course, that's a seat that Riley Keaton had. He left that position, and Erica Moore was nominated by a group of people in Charleston to fill that seat.
Yes.
Now, she is going up on the Republican side against Rick Atkinson, who held that seat before Riley Keaton knocked him off, and he is back, and he is challenging for that Republican nomination. Now, on the Democratic side, just waiting in the wings is Juliana Penfold.
Yeah.
She's going to face off in the general election against one of those two.
Yeah, so that's where it gets interesting, because you'll see tonight this election is a very Republican heavy election. The Democrat Party and the Mountain Party, there's a lot of contests that have automatic winners because only one person filed or nobody filed. So there are some contests that, for the most part, will be decided. And when I say mostly decided, I believe, and I could be wrong on this, so please don't anybody hold me to this. I believe that for like a state race, if there's a Republican candidate chosen tonight and nobody was running on the Democrat side, there's still like a small window where the Democrat Party can come back and appoint someone to run for that Democrat seat in November, which means just because they won tonight, they may or may not automatically win in November.
Well, we've obviously got those two big races. Let's talk about that now, Joe. You went through and we looked at unopposed Republicans here at the moment. So let's pull up who is. Well, they're guaranteed to get the nomination for the Republican side, and there's a little window. If that doesn't take place, these are going to be the technically automatic winners, but you got to wait. But we've got some automatic winners in some races here.
Right. Yeah, so if you're willing, if you are a gambler or a bettor, these are Joe's guaranteed 100% winning picks tonight. So I'll give you all the parties that are guaranteed winners tonight, so place your bets now before the polls close at 7:30. Here we go. So on the Republican ticket, we have Larry Pack. He's running for treasurer on the Republican ticket. He's run unopposed. He's a guaranteed winner tonight. Glenn Jeffries, also on the Republican ticket, running for state senator, 8th District. On the nonpartisan ballot, Haley Bunn for the Justice of the Supreme Court of Appeals in Division 1. Charles S. Trump IV on the nonpartisan for Justice of the Supreme Court of Appeals Division 2. Judge of the Circuit Court, 5th Circuit Division 1 is Laura Dyer. And then you also have Richard Craig Tatterson for Judge of the Circuit Court, 5th Circuit Division 2. And then right here locally, Jason Bennett on the nonpartisan ballot for Magistrate Division 1. Jason has a pretty easy night. He just has to he gets to sit home and just watch the circus go on. So going down the list here, Daniel Minardi will be the new prosecuting attorney come January.
Yes.
He's automatically won. Philip Deaver automatically is in for another 4 years as Roane County Sheriff.
I owe that guy some money.
Yeah. Well, good, because he owes me some money, so it'll be perfect.
I'll take out the middleman and pay you.
There you go. Emily Westfall. Emily has been here forever. And the reason she's been here forever because she does her job, and she does her job well.
Yes.
So she's going to be here for another term as Roane County Assessor. Steve Williams on the Democrat ticket is automatically moving on to in November as Governor. Thornton Cooper is going to be the Democrat pick for the Secretary of State. Marianne Roebuck Clater is going to be for the Auditor on the Democrat side. Deborah Stiles is going to be the Commissioner of Agriculture, Democrat choice. And then we spoke of Juliana Penfold on the Democrat side for the 5th District House of Delegates. Then Jill Stein from the Mountain Party is going to be the pick for president. And then Chase Linko Looper for the Mountain Party is going on in November as the governor option. And that is our automatic winners, and our county clerk has arrived.
Absolutely. Well, before our county clerk comes on, we're going to send it back up to the studio. We're going to take a break for just a minute, and we're going to, again, we're the calm before the storm right now, folks. There's one thing I wanted to update you on. Of course, I talk out my, other mouth sometimes. The mayor is always good to keep me on track, though. He reminded me that the House of Delegates seat is only portion of Work County and Roane County, no Calhoun County. I did out of turn. I had still the old
map, yeah.
I had the judge on my mind still for the 5th Judicial Circuit. That did include Calhoun County. So, no. The delegates between Rick Atkinson and Erica Moore and Julianne Penfold, just portions of Work County and Roane County.
Yeah.
No Calhoun County.
That's why we're the unofficial results.
Yes, we'll get the results as best we can to you, I said, and hopefully I don't step on my toes for that one. But right now we're going to send it back up to the studio for the radio side of things. We're going to let Marissa play a little bit of music, get some ABC News in. We're going to check in once again at the top of the hour, probably around 7:10 p.m. on the radio side. We're going to stay live here, though, on our YouTube and our Facebook feeds and on TikTok. We invite you to please message us on the comments section. Let us know if you have any questions. Let us know if you're just excited to watch this election night coverage. And again, folks, we're just getting rolling right now. It is the calm before the storm. At 7:30, it's going to get crazy, and we're excited about that. Until then, I'm going to send it back up to the studio to Marissa, and we're going to let her play a little bit of music here, and we'll check in on the radio side at about 7:10 p.m. All right, folks, hang tight for just a second while I get a hold of Marissa there at the station, and we'll talk a little bit. Give us questions if you have any, please.
Yeah, please feel free to hit us up with any questions, or let us know which contest you are watching for tonight. That's going to make it interesting. Like we was talking during the radio side of things, this is going to be a Republican-heavy ticket tonight. It just so happens that's the way tonight's election is going to go. There's a lot of Republican contests that we're going to be discussing, and because there's a lot of people running for Republican seats. On the Democrat side, there are a few positions that no one had ran for on the Democrat ticket. There's some automatic winners, which we discussed, but we're going to cover them all. We're going to cover Republican, Democrat, Mountain Party. We'll cover all three parties. We're covering the Roane County School Levy ballot, the votes on it. So there's nothing on the Roane County ballot that we're not covering tonight.
We'll just run it and then just keep running the top of the hour. We'll probably go back on live on radio at about 7:10. So it's about 7:07. I'll call you and we'll get ready to go. Hit the automation assist whatever song's playing is supposed to be.
So if you've just now joined us, please feel free to share this broadcast out to let other people see it, let other people know that we are live and ready to roll. We are just anxiously waiting for 7:30 to get here.
Okay. Gave Joe the bad news there. We're having a little bit of an issue, we think, maybe with our online streaming. Guess who we have here, though?
The tech guy.
We got a tech guy who can hack into my system. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. He can hack into my system.
Well, it depends on how nice you are.
It's a very good thing right now when we are not at the station. We're going to try to get the live streaming coverage of audio on the radio side of things getting going here. Do appreciate Eddie Goodwin for giving us the message there. Said that our streaming on the website is showing offline. So
yes, Eddie, thank you so much for letting us know that.
We do appreciate that. We always listen. We if something is not going right, please let us know. Just like the mayor just messaged me, said, don't put Calhoun in there on that delegate race. And then I look over and Stephanie Poole is commenting, hey, no Calhoun on that race. I do apologize.
Hey, we're trying to add people here. Just give us a little.
Now, Stephanie, you had me in school for a few years. You know I'm not a smart man.
Yeah, she's had us both. She should know better.
She should know we're not smart human beings. Oh, we do want to say hello to everybody out there on TikTok as well. So we're trying to get the election coverage. And again, folks, we're just getting ready. I've got a little coffee here. We're trying to get ourselves worked up and get into a frenzy. And it won't take long. Like I said, right about 7:30, the frenzy will begin. Let us know what race that you all are following the most here tonight. Obviously, for us, the big ticket item is Josh Downey versus Anita Ashley for the 5th Judicial Circuit Judge. Obviously, another one is Rick Atkinson, Erica Moore, who will face off against Juliana Penfold in the general election for that House of Delegates seat. But is there any other race that you guys are looking for? It doesn't have to be a local race. If you're looking for the governor's race, I know that's a muddled mess of a bunch of different people.
There we go.
We know one thing. We know Steve Williams on the Democratic side is going to face somebody in the general election for the governor of West Virginia.
Yeah, so in Steve Williams' case, is he sitting home tonight going, I don't have to worry about this tomorrow? Or is he going, okay, who am I facing? Who do I have to deal with? Okay, we should be back online on the audio streaming. That's a good way to tell if people's listening, Drew. Just turn it off and see who screams.
Got my first message from one of our buddies. Said, "Where's the sound?" John, don't you lie. You know you can hear us. Okay, I'm trying to answer some questions not online here.
Yeah.
So listen, we're going to be back and forth here. Just look at our pretty faces while we're not talking, if that's the case.
Yes. Okay. Yes, Juliana, that people like your mom is why people like us are able to function in society, because we have adults in the room that make sure to keep us on task. Juliana says, guys, you know my mom by now. She's always on it. Yes,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's because we always have an adult in the room to make sure we're on task.
We have to. Now, we had Cena in here for a second, the county clerk, Cena McDonald. Joe, I hated to do that. We were on a hard break. I had to get off the radio for a bit. I hope we can get her back at 7:10. That's the hope.
Well, let me go. I'll go check real quick.
Right at 7:10. 7 minutes from right now, I promise.
Okay. If not, I've locked her in for at the end of the night. So,
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes.
I'd like to get her on the first of the night and then see her at the end of the
Do a
night.
side-by-side comparison.
So, Joe, go find out if you can get her on here in 7 minutes.
All right, we'll do.
That'll be great. And again, folks, we do appreciate everybody out there joining us for election night coverage here on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok over there. Again, if you're asking us questions on TikTok, we're probably not going to be able to see them. They're far away, and my eyesight is bad. We're just watching a phone over there, but we invite you to just join in. Hopefully you can hear us. I'm a pretty loud talker, as is Joe, so hopefully those of you over on TikTok can hear us just fine. And again, if you have any questions about any races, you probably won't have any questions right now, obviously, because the polls still do not close for another 26 minutes. So if you have not voted, by the way, you still have 26 minutes to get to your precinct and get your votes cast here. Of course, it's your civic duty. We hope everybody decides to take advantage of that and go out and vote. If there's any election races that you guys are looking at, as we said, could be the governor's race, could be the state senate, or the U.S. senator race, if somebody might be interested in that. We're going to try to tap into all those different races as we go throughout the evening. As long as the coffee's flowing, folks, we're going to be here. We're going to be talking it up. This is much different than Joe and I's last venture when we were on Bridge Watch for 2 nights, 12 hours a night. That was a lot of fun. Sure, we had a lot of people who are tuning in now that was tuning into our Bridge Watch coverage. All right, Joe, I know you have some pull with our county clerk here. The question is, how much pull do you have?
You're funny. So she was seriously contemplating it, and then she took off again.
Okay.
Something about wanting to make sure everything runs smooth and all that.
But what about us?
I know, right? Well, what's more important, making sure that this all goes smooth or talking to us?
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I would rather her make it go smooth since we're going to be getting the information from them.
Right.
That would be preferable. And again, we're going to try to keep updated with graphics for you all of all these important races. We've got some automatic winners that we went through already. We'll go through that again a couple of times throughout the evening. and we're just in a holding pattern right now. We're just waiting for that 7:30 mark. And I tell you, we've been doing this now, Joe, for a few elections. It started for me about 7 or 8 years ago when I was still not the owner of the station, but I was contracted to come do the election coverage. I had a blast with it, but I'll tell you what, one thing I do realize is once that 7:30 mark is hit,
Yeah.
you better hold on because it's coming. They're flying in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be fast.
It's like a death toll, just a dong, and it just and then everything starts. Yeah, I gotta say, I like being on this side of it though. The last election, it wasn't. It was a little more stressful on my end.
Yeah, I would just a little bit more. Just
Yeah.
a little bit more. You can relax this time.
Yeah. Last time, I did a lot of paper running just to keep my mind occupied.
Well, let me just tell you this. I am very happy that you are here with me because the guy that I usually have here is in probably the most hotly contested race
Yes.
of all. Josh Downey used to be my guy.
Yeah.
And he's running for a seat, so he can't be around here.
Yeah. He can't be here doing this. So
I got Joe McDonald here to help me out. Let's see, what is it, about 7:06? All right, I'm
Yeah.
going to take the headset off and call Marissa over at the station, and
Okay.
hopefully we'll be getting on here in about 3 minutes. All
Okay.
right. You can keep talking, Joe.
Okay, yeah. Actually, we got an update from Ty Ward here on Facebook. He says, FYI, the Libertarian Party has nominated its candidates for governor, which is Erica Kolanich, Libertarian for West Virginia, and for U.S. Senate, David Moran. Thank you, Ty, for letting us know that, because we're just pulling what we see off the ballots. So since this wasn't available on the ballot, these were appointed. Thank you very much for letting us know. So anyone that is watching that is a member of the Libertarian Party, Erica Kolanich has been nominated for governor, and for U.S. Senate, David Moran has been nominated. So those candidates will automatically move on to November and show up on the ballots in the general election. So I'm just getting some messages here.
Whichever one of the asset play will let a song play, and then count us down.
All right. So everything's running smooth so far on everywhere.
What did I miss, Joe? I saw something about a Libertarian Party.
Yeah. Ty Ward updated us. He said, FYI, the Libertarian Party has nominated the candidates for governor, which is Erica Kolanich, Libertarian for West Virginia, and for U.S. Senate, David Moran. So from the Libertarian Party, these folks will automatically show up on the ballots in November.
Appreciate that, Ty. Thank you very much. Folks, we got a hold of Marissa at the station. We're going to go live here in about probably 4 or 5 minutes on the radio side, so just stick with us here in just a bit. How's it going, Maggie? Good to see you.
Yeah, I may have told Cena about your idea of her coming on now and coming on later and doing the before and afters. That might have been what scared her off.
Well, I think if she wants to put her best face forward, it'd be before the chaos.
No, she's saying like it'll be after because like all the stress will be gone and she can.
True.
Yeah.
You're right. I get that. All right, I'm going to check in again with
Okay.
Marissa here.
All right, Debbie, I know you're watching, so 2024. And while we're waiting, I personally want to give a special shout out to Suzette Lowe over in Jackson County, who is going to be our contact for over to Jackson County election. I called in a huge favor and begged her to send me the Jackson County results. So she's going to at least be able to send us the judicial race between Anita Ashley and Josh Downey. And then if she sends me anything else, we'll cover that as well. But I begged her to please at least send us that. So thank you, Suzette, for doing that. We have about 20 minutes left before the excitement begins.
Chaos.
Yes. We need a peanut vendor. If we had a peanut vendor, then we could have a circus. There we go. What else do you have in that bag of tricks over there, sir? I took that joke from a county commissioner several years ago. working in Wayne County for County Commission.
So how many ads do you see on the board there? That's it. Okay, cool. Well, don't push assist until Manny Hamilton is around. Stop. Sorry,
Oh, you're good, buddy.
what's that?
Drew is a man of multitasking. Now, if you're just now joining us, I'm going to show you one of the cool things we're doing tonight.
All right, folks, we welcome you back on the radio side of things on 104.7 FM, and we do believe that we've got things taken care of on our streaming audio on our website at wvrcfm.com. Do want to thank Eddie Goodwin for pointing that out. We want to make sure that we are able to provide you the coverage of this primary night, election night coverage for West Virginia. And so we got that fixed up. Joe McDonald and Andrew Miller here. We are going to be with you guys throughout the evening as these races start to heat up even more than they are, because we're going to get some results in. The results will not start coming in until after 7:30. 7:30, Joe, is when the polls close.
Yes.
And once that happens, once again, we want to remind you all, we are not allowed to do any individual precinct results. We
Right.
will not have individual results. That is a state mandate. It is not coming from here. It's not coming from anywhere other than the state. They want to make sure that they do the canvassing first, and then they'll get the results officially, officially official.
Yes.
Once they do that canvassing. But what we will provide you all is, as those precincts do come in, the total numbers are going to go up and up and up for each candidate, and we will keep track of all those official totals. And
Right.
we'll have some graphics for you all to look at, and we'll be staying on the radio and on our Facebook and YouTube feeds throughout the evening, and we'll provide you the coverage that you guys want to see and want to hear about the election nights. We know that there's a couple of very hotly contested races here, Joe, and we're just kind of waiting right now. We've got about 15 more minutes before we're going to start seeing some of those come in.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Drew, but I'm nervous for these folks. I don't have a
Absolutely.
dog. I don't have a dog in these fights. But man, I'm nervous for these folks that are in these highly contested races, and the two big ones that Drew and I are watching. And the scary part of the exciting, interesting, scary part of it is, these are races that affect more than just Roane County. So it's not just a Roane County deal at the end of the night. And the two contests that we're really watching is the one for House of Delegates between Erica Moore and
Rick Atkinson.
Rick
I got
Atkinson.
you, buddy.
Thank you,
I
buddy.
got you.
I'm drawing a blank, man. It's not good. And then for the 5th Judicial Circuit Judge, Anita Ashley and Josh Downey, those two contests there are multi-county contests. Just because your candidate pulls great in Roane County, there are other counties involved here. So don't start breaking out the ticker tape and the streamers and all that.
Well, we've got some comments rolling in, and one of the comments is coming from somebody who's probably pretty relaxed right now when it comes to that House of Delegates race, and that is the Democrat who is running unopposed in the primary. That's Juliana Penfold. She's going to be watching
Yes.
to see who she will face off against come the general election, and that will start pretty quickly right after this is all said and done. So what we're watching for is that House of Delegates Republican side between Erica Moore, who is currently the incumbent. She was
Appointed.
She was appointed
Yes.
to replace Riley Keaton, who did not finish out his term. And so she is running against Rick Atkinson, who has been our House of Delegates representative here for Roane and the majority of Wirt County. So we'll have the Roane County results. We're hoping to get some contacts from Wirt County, maybe see some of those results. And then, as you mentioned, of course, the big race right now between the incumbent for the Judicial Circuit 5th
Yes.
Circuit, and that is the incumbent Anita Ashley, and our current prosecuting attorney, Josh Downey, who will no longer be that. We've got a new prosecuting attorney getting started. But that race covers 4 counties, portions of 4 counties: Roane County, Mason County, Calhoun County, and Jackson County.
Yes.
And again, we'll try to get some results from those other counties at least, because we'd like to get a better feel as the night progresses and towards the end.
Right.
Not that we're going to be able to call anything, but we'd like to be able to know at least close.
Well, I know for a fact that both candidates will be sitting there watching this all night. So if we can make their jobs a little easier, if that's
Yeah.
possible, of at least throwing numbers from other areas. Because I know for a fact, I know both parties. I know both candidates. Sorry,
Yes.
I know both candidates and both families involved. I know for a fact there's going to be a lot of pencils and paper scratching the numbers down all night long. So if we can make that a little easier for them, kind of the one-stop shop for their number crunching, we're here.
One of the races I'm interested in seeing is, of course, the Republican side for West Virginia governor. There's 15 Republicans who are battling it out, and boy, it has been a fun campaign. Let's just say that salacious at times, a little nasty at times from all sides. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out of that the least scathed. Nobody's unscathed in that. And again, you've got Steve Williams over there on the Democratic side just waiting.
Yeah.
And he'll be facing off against one of whoever. With a bunch of them there.
Yeah, at the state level, on the Republican side, that's what I was talking about earlier. The Republican ticket tonight is going to be kind of the ticket to watch because there's a lot of contests, heavily heated contests. So for governor, we have 6 candidates. We have Moore Capito, which is Shelley Moore Capito's son, Mac Warner, which is the current Secretary of State, Kevin Casey Christian, Chris Miller, which is the Dutch Miller owner in Charleston, Patrick Morrissey, which is our current Attorney General, and Mitch Roberts. So those 6 gentlemen are fighting for the seat of governor on the Republican ticket.
They're going to trim the fat
Yes.
here tonight, and one will remain at the end of that. I just saw Caleb Greathouse tuning in. That's an interesting race. How about that?
Drew, how did you let me let that slip?
Well,
by?
I let it slip.
Okay. We have 3 heavily contested contests tonight.
Yeah, I let it slip till Caleb messaged in. So, again, we'll take all the comments that we can get. That's an interesting race. You've got an incumbent right now for county commission in Andy Corcoran.
Yes.
And he and Caleb Greathouse are battling it out for that seat.
Yes. And that is one of the contests that the winner at the end of the night is going to be Roane County.
Yeah, either way, we got 2 great candidates.
Yeah, those are two great guys that, regardless of how this way goes, I've known both gentlemen for several years now, and I can't say anything bad about either of them. So at the end of the night, regardless of where the pendulum swings on whichever candidate, Roane County wins on that one. So we're in good hands on that one, regardless of which way that goes. We talk about Secretary of State. Secretary of State's another highly contested on the Republican side. We have 4 people running on that one, Drew.
Oh, man.
We have Doug Scaff Jr., we have Chris Warner, which is actually Mac Warner's brother, the current Secretary of State, and then we have Ken Reed, and we also have Brian Wood, which is a current county clerk in Putnam County.
Got a chance to speak with Brian Wood during the Black Walnut Festival. He stopped by our tent there, and that's the only reason I know him, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in the fight otherwise. No dog in the fight. Listen, we're not supporting or denying any candidate here tonight. We're just here to try to help give the information to you all. So, folks, we've got a lot of coverage getting ready to go here. We're up against a hard break at the radio station, so what we're going to do is we're going to break away on the radio station side of things. We're going to stay here live, of course, on our YouTube and Facebook channels. We'll check back in, and this is going to be a fun one. When we come back on the radio, it's going to be after 7:30. It'll probably be close to about 7:40. That'll give us 10 minutes to get a lot of information, and we'll stack it up for you. We'll come back on the radio at about 7:40 p.m. We'll have some results, hopefully, for the general public watching or listening out there in Radioland and on our website streaming audio. But we're going to stay live here, of course, as always, on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok. We invite you to interact with us. Please share this video. It helps our cause. Like the video, and certainly comment, questions, comments, concerns, criticism, snide remarks.
Yeah.
I remember that from an old teacher of mine as well. Until then, I'm going to send it back up to the studio to Marissa, and she's going to play some more music for you guys. We'll check in at about 7:40 p.m. on the radio.
Yeah, I feel so bad that completely forgot about the county commission race. That's one that's going to be interesting. So, oh man, the plot thickens. So I'm going to go through here and see if there's any other interesting races that Drew and I've just completely overlooked.
Yeah, it's probably that old lady.
Remember, you're still live. Yeah. All I hear was, is that old lady. So that's not good. Magistrate. Thank you, Katie. Yes. So we have 2 magistrate races going on tonight. The first one, which we discussed earlier, Jason Bennett is running unopposed. The second magistrate seat is up for grabs between incumbent Ron White and newcomer Terry Bradshaw. That's one's going to be interesting to watch as well. I'm going to start making a list because if I don't, this is all going to go sideways real quick like. Family court judge, thank you, Katie. See, this is why Drew and I aren't allowed to be out unsupervised because we always need an adult in the room. And luckily, Katie's here going, you guys need to do this one, you didn't do this one. So I'm going to go through my list here. So President, Senator, House of Representatives, Governor, Republican. The Republican governor race is going to be one to watch. Yeah, Katie's over here announcing our shortcomings.
Listen, Katie White has pulled me out of the fire more than a few times in my life. I love that she came here. I talked to her earlier. She said, you guys need any coffee or anything like that? And I said, I don't think Joe drinks coffee. What a weirdo.
Yeah. I'm like one of the 10 nerds in the entire world that doesn't drink coffee.
But she also said she's going to be here just hanging around and getting some results. And she's wearing her WVRC T-shirt, so she's officially employed tonight.
There you go.
And she's going to help us stay on track the best we possibly can be held on track.
She's going to be one of those Metro News refreshers all night.
I want to say hi to Anthony Browning. He's one of our top fans on Facebook, by the way.
Nice.
And, of course, Dave Snyder, good evening to you as well, sir. And what do we got here? Oh, okay, so Stephanie's got a question for that. Are you – let's see, for the District 15 House race, will you be able to get the votes from Work County? That's the question, is will we be able to get some information from these other counties? We do have some connections in the other counties, but again, it's not always easy to get them to stop working hard to get us those results. So we're going to do the best we can.
Yeah, I actually reached out to Miss Suzette Lowe over in Jackson County for the judges race. So shout out to Miss Suzette. And anybody that has been to the library in 20 plus years, Miss Suzette worked there for a very long time. And so if anybody knows Miss Suzette, you know she's a wonderful lady and works hard to get things, get the information that you need. So Miss Suzette is supposed to be my contact for Jackson County for the judges race.
Okay. And again, we'll try to keep track of the judges race. For that side of things, we'll try to keep track, of course, a little bit of Work County as well for that House of Delegates race on the Republican side for you guys. But again, we'll have the Roane County results no matter what.
Right.
So we'll have those results for you guys. So yeah, any other hotly contested races that you all have your eyes on? I mean, I know there's that big ticket race at the top for president. I don't know if I want to open up that can of worms or not.
Well, here's how you do it. On the Republican ticket for the presidential nominee, how big of a margin do you think President Trump's going to win? And I say that jokingly because we could be proven wrong.
It's possible.
And because I have it pulled up here, there are 5 candidates up for grabs for the Republican nominee. David Stuckenberg, Nikki Haley, Rachel Hanna and Mohawk Swift, Ryan Binkley, and then former President Donald Trump.
Hey, I like that Hannah Mohawk Swift name.
Yeah.
I'm not endorsing anybody.
Right.
and just before everybody gets started on the comment section, keep it clean, all right? We have permabanned people, and we will if you don't keep it nice and on the up and up. So it'll be interesting to see how all those results come in.
Right.
There's a lot of different candidates still out there for that big race, but we're still most solely focused on these local races. Some of the state races are interesting to us.
Right. Yeah, and the joke about Donald Trump, that's just based off national trends. All the other state primaries, former President Trump has made a landslide victory in all those. So it's safe to say that it's more than likely, just based off trends, it's probably going to go that way. But West Virginia could be that wild card that could change things. You never know. That's why we go through this, because You can say, "Oh yeah, it's going to happen this way," and then it'll go completely opposite.
And again, there are multiple candidates for that top seat in the nation for multiple parties. Independents. There's some other.
The Mountain Party,
Mountain Parties,
Libertarian, Democrat Party. So
there's some other ones.
Okay. Now that's going to be an interesting one on the Democrat side for the presidential candidate. Is President Biden going to be able to pull the numbers to get reelected as the Democrat nominee, or is somebody going to pull the rug out from underneath him?
Your guess is as good as mine is. I know for people who follow politics like it's their job, maybe my mother is one of those people. I don't know. The big thought is, and of course that doesn't matter tonight, but going into the general election is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That's what would you call him? The unknown.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? What's he going to take from who? So it's going to be interesting. But that again will follow after tonight. Tonight will be interesting though to see what numbers are pulled from Joe Biden, what numbers are pulled by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the independent side, and how many numbers that Donald Trump pulls. So that'll be just kind of an interesting prequel to what we're getting ready to see.
Right, because basically on the Republican ticket, you're either and here's how most of the people are going to look at this. You're either voting for Trump or you're voting against Trump. So how big is that gap between the two? And same thing on the Democrat side. How many people are voting for President Biden? How many people are voting against President Biden? And how big of the gap is that going to be?
Yeah.
So that's going to make that interesting. So I made a list, and Katie kept hollering at me to make my list longer here. So the races that Drew and I she's actually making a list.
She's got her steno pad there, right?
Yeah, she's making sure our lists are correct. We're going to be the highly contested spots we're going to be watching for tonight. Of course, we're covering them all, so don't worry. The Republican governor ticket, the Secretary of State on the Republican side, of course, the Republican House of Delegates race, the Fifth Circuit judge race, the family court judge race, the magistrate court judge race, county commissioner race, and the Board of Education levy.
Yeah, that's one thing we haven't spoken about just yet, this Board of Education levy. And there's a lot of information that has been put out for that. Obviously, we've only got like 1 minute left, so it's not going to change anybody's mind at this point. But hopefully the voters took the time here in Roane County to take advantage of all the information that was given, make an informed decision about that, what they think is good or bad about it, and then choose what they want to do, either up or down, based off of information, not
knee-jerk reaction.
Yes, that's the hope, is people actually took the time to read up on the information that was given to them, and we'll just see how that flies. Obviously, levies are always hard. You know, levies are difficult to pass. Nobody wants their taxes raised. Right. So you just never know how it's going to turn out. So we'll just wait and see on that one.
Yeah, and that's one of the hard things is the school board levy. You and I both, we could sit here and make pros and cons on either side of it. Anybody can. But the fact of the matter is, did the voters make that decision one way or the other by doing their homework and educated, or just not make knee-jerk reaction? And that's where it gets scary is, and it could go either way. Did you vote for it or against it just based off knee-jerk reaction of this could be good or bad? Or did you sit down and do the homework as a voter of saying, okay, well, let me see what my tax dollars are going for?
Yeah,
and make that decision from there. So that's going to be interesting.
I certainly would never be ashamed to say that if I am not informed on something, then I probably wouldn't put a yes or no on if I wasn't informed on what it was all about,
right?
What it meant for me as a voter, what it meant for me as a taxpayer. If I didn't have my information, I just wouldn't vote on it.
Right,
you know?
And that's what's nice is that's one of the things a lot of people don't realize is you can leave a contest unchecked. You don't have to check a box in every race. You can leave some of those boxes unchecked. So if if you're not comfortable voting either way,
if you didn't like any of the 6 Republican candidates for governor.
Yeah.
I thought about writing in Swolby, honestly.
I wish you would have. I would have too, and he would have had 2 votes.
I'm kidding. I'm not telling anybody who I'm voting for. But that would have been funny had I done that.
Well, I've always joked that I wanted to put a sign in my yard that says Joe McDonald for public nuisance, just to drive people, just to make people go, what's he talking about? And I told that joke to somebody the other day, and they said, you're not qualified. Have you seen some of these people running around? You are underqualified. I'm like, well, thank you.
Let me ask the general public here. This is the second person who said turn the sound up. I've spoken to 5 or 6 people who said the sound is fine. So is everybody else having problems hearing us, or is it just certain people? Maybe their devices aren't cranked up. If you're watching on a computer, make sure your sound is turned all the way up. Let me see.
I just made a slight adjustment on our end, so let's see if that helped or any. Okay, so Lewis Boldy says we sound great.
So make sure if you're watching us.
And Stephanie Poole says we sounds good.
Good sound. Okay, so if you're having trouble, whatever device you may be watching on, make sure that you are having it turned all the way up, be it a phone or whatever. If you're listening from a computer, make sure your computer volume is all the way up. If you're watching us on a Facebook feed, click on the feed, and you can see a volume button there that may be turned down. So we were pretty sure that we're okay with the volume here, so you can turn that back down. That'll be fine. We don't want to overblast people with it.
Well, we're staying right in the yellow there, so we're okay.
Let's hope so.
I'll crank us down just a smidge.
Okay, so
you do sound more clear after you
good.
Okay,
good.
Well, then I'll kick us back up here then.
All right, so guess what, Joe?
Yes, sir.
We're a minute past the 30.
Look here, breaking news.
Wait, what?
We official breaking news. Just handed to me from Katie. So some highly contested Calhoun County races.
Okay, that's excellent.
For magistrate in Division 1, we have Maria Arnold, and then the incumbent Richard Postawait. For sheriff, we have Graham Knight on the Republican side, and as well as Jeff Starcher on the Republican. And then for county commissioner Division 3 unexpired term, you have Roger Probst, Republican, and then Araya White, Republican. So for the Calhoun races, these are the races to watch in Calhoun County, and Katie said she's going to be on top of that.
My goodness, I'm glad that Katie showed up here tonight. For more reasons than one, she was going to provide coffee. She's also a coffee drinker, unlike you, Joe, you lunatic. You absolutely kidding.
Yeah, but think about it, Drew. Do you really want to see me on caffeine? Like,
this is true. I redact my previous statement.
You know, I'm one nonsensical action away from being put on Ritalin anyway, so do you really want caffeine added to the mix?
Probably not. Well, folks, it is official. The polls are closed. 7:30 has come and gone. We are now at 7:33 on the dot, and we're going to go live here in about 6 minutes on the radio. And hopefully here in about 6 minutes between now and then, hopefully we'll see some runners coming from behind us, and hopefully they can get us some results here early.
What's nice is I can watch the screen here and see what's going on behind us.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can see if we have runners coming or not.
Not going to be snuck up on, are we?
So if you just now joined us, we'll show you. So we are not able to give out precinct reports due to West Virginia State Code 3-4A-27. It says we are no longer allowed to do precinct reports, but we'll have general summary reports to say who's ahead by what. So we're going to have this really cool graphic tonight, and we're going to pull it up here.
And right now it's empty, but there will be a pie chart once numbers start coming in.
Yes. So right now, so you'll see here, we'll be able to go through each race, and you'll be able to see your candidates at the bottom of the screen, and then they have a color for each candidate, and you'll be able to see who's ahead by how much for each race.
Well, that's a cool graphic that you put together, Joe.
Well, thank you, sir.
And again,
I didn't PowerPoint put it together.
some people are not audio learners; they are visual learners. Some people are tactile learners. Going back to my old days as a teacher, but some people just want to see it in. I would say black and white, but we're going to be blue and orange and maybe some other colors as well.
Yes.
If it's a 2-person race, it'll be even better.
Yes.
And we'll only have blue and orange. If it's a 6-person race, if
it's a governor's race, it's going to be interesting.
We have a multicolored wheel of fun.
You're either going to be cheering on orange, blue, green, or pink, or whatever color.
Folks, we're about 5 minutes away, 5 minutes away from going live on the radio. And again, we're just waiting for runners to come back. Again, the polls have closed at 7:30 now. in the past, of course, we can't give out precinct results, but we know that the first few precincts that are going to be coming in are local because they're right next door to us. There's one down at Heritage Park. There's a couple around town. Is the high school still a site?
Yes. Yeah, so the odds of us getting like Gary, Newton, Walton by 7:45 is not going to happen.
No, that'll take a bit of time.
So if you're familiar with Roane County, you could probably guess
about how much time.
Yeah, about how much time when we get the reports coming in on where they're coming at for the most part, but we won't know exactly who's coming in. So in Spencer alone, we have here at the courthouse, we have 2 precincts down at the community building. We have 2 precincts over at the library. And then we have 1 precinct over in Reedy at the community building.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the high school. And then Clover, Newton, Amma, I think. And then you have one at the Walton School. You have one at Harper Church.
Testing Joe's memory right now.
Well, this is all I've heard in passing. Well, I actually went with Cena yesterday to help deliver machines to Reedy, Spencer. So I knew
there's a bunch of them.
The Armory and the fire department.
But here's the cool thing, Joe, about the technology as you were talking about before. It's just taking the time to get the actual information from those precincts to this facility. Once that happens, it is real quick.
Yeah. The technology with these new machines is phenomenal. Always before, years ago, with the old machines, the technology was antiquated, so it was using older equipment, which would take longer to process everything. Now, everything saves to a secure thumb drive. When it comes back into the courthouse, whoever's running the computer will plug it into the computer, download that information, and it is ready to go right there on the spot. And I'm glad you brought that up, Drew, because one of the things, there was some people, Brandy Gentry, 4-H grounds, Walton Community Building, thank you. Well, those weren't on mine and Cena's loop yesterday. Cena had another crew out on those, and 4-H grounds is my voting precinct.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Well, I early vote, so, you know. But the security on this stuff is phenomenal.
Yes.
And that's one thing that there was some people that were kind of nervous about. And I know this from firsthand experience. I've seen this process. Not at any point from when the machines are programmed locally at Castone Harris with ES&S, the software provider, those machines never touch the internet. The machines that do those programming are basically on their own little island. None of them ever touch the internet.
Yeah.
That's to make sure the election integrity and security is in top notch, because it can't be attacked if it's not touching anything.
I got to take a look at those today because I vote on the day of, Joe.
Yeah.
Those are really neat. Of course, the screen itself looks very familiar to what we've been used to, but much smaller machines and with the printouts and I thought it was really neat to see that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, and what's nice is, always before with what they called the IVOs, when you pressed the button, it made that scroll of, okay, you made this choice, you made that choice. Every time you pushed a button, it made a log. It still does that electronically.
Yes.
But when you finish your ballot, it prints out a receipt that has exactly, so you, the voter, can see exactly who you voted for. So you can't say, well, I voted for Roy and it picked John. No. Yeah. You voted for Roy, and it says right here in black and white on that piece of paper.
Right, it says Roy.
Yeah. So
is there a Roy running right now?
I don't know, but if he was, he got Drew's vote.
Well, Joe, I'm going to step aside real quick here to call the station. We're going to get ready to go live on the radio. One question coming in from Toby Wagner. This may be something that you can address about any idea what drove the change in the law to keep us from being allowed to report precinct counts. It is an interesting law, but that is something that they have stepped up on. So I'll be right back, and we're going to be on the radio in a second.
Okay. So, so talking about the voting security. So once the machines come here, again, nothing touches the internet. The computer that all the tabulation is going on tonight, it never touches the internet. The only point that there is any contact with the outside world at the end of the night, when the county clerks across the state run their final reports to submit the final reports to the Secretary of State's office, those reports are loaded onto a thumb drive, then manually walked over to another computer that's actually connected to the internet, and then submitted online to the Secretary of State's office. So literally from the beginning of the process to the end of the process, at no point is there a computer that makes contact to the outside world that could possibly finagle, tweak, adjust any voting rules or steps. So that's how. So West Virginia is one of the most secure election states in the nation, and that's one of the processes that the Secretary of State's office and all these county clerks across the state work hard to strive for is election integrity to make sure that there aren't any questions or issues there. So going on to Toby's question, West Virginia State Code 3-4A-27, proceedings at the Central Counting Center. This rule, hold on, I need to make an adjustment here real quick on TikTok, because TikTok says we are interesting enough and wants to make sure we're still live. There we are. Okay, I can read you this whole list here, but I'll skip down to item E on this ruling. It says the returns printed by the automatic tabulating equipment at the Central County Center, aka the county clerk's office, to which have been added write-in and other valid votes, are, when certified by the clerk of the county commission, to constitute the unofficial preliminary returns of the county. Upon completion of the count, the returns are to be open to the public by posting a summary of the returns as have been tabulated at the Central County Center. In other words, when the returns are coming in, the county clerk is responsible for handing out just the general the summary reports. Upon completion of canvass, which is a process that is done next week when it makes everything official, then the returns are to be posted as tabulated precinct by precinct. So that's just a ruling from the Secretary of State's office that says on election night you can only hand out the summary reports after canvass, which happens next week. This is when all the counties going to state go back and rerun the numbers to make sure the numbers they got on election night match up on canvass day, and if there's any late ballots, when I say late absentee ballots that were postmarked with today's date. So if someone has an absentee ballot, voted absentee, and got it to the post office today that has today's time, date, and time stamp, that technically by law, West Virginia state law, still counts as a vote. Now, if Drew has a vote, an absentee ballot, and he forgets to go to the post office and sends it in tomorrow with tomorrow's date and time stamp, that ballot is null and void because it wasn't cast on election day. So they have to look at those. If there's any that come in late through the mail, make sure those get tabulated. And then if there's any provisional ballots, the county commission has to go through each provisional ballot and see if those are valid or not.
We welcome you back on the radio side. Joe McDonald doing a great job, folks, of explaining the rule that has changed here for the state of West Virginia with the precincts. Joe was answering a question that came in from one of our listeners, one of our watchers here on YouTube and Facebook, talking about the changes in rules where we aren't allowed to discuss individual precincts anymore. It's just an overall total, and that was a good answer to that. We won't go through it right now on the radio side of things because it's a lot of lingo, a lot of jargon, stuff like that, but suffice to say, Joe, we just are going to be able to give overall totals.
Long story short, it's a state regulation, nothing done at the county level.
Yes, we do welcome everybody who is tuning in on the radio side of things and, of course, on our streaming website on WVRCFM.com. Folks, we invite you to share all of our platforms. If you've got somebody outside of the state who wants to watch these election results as they are coming in, send them to our Facebook or our YouTube channel, or just tune in on TikTok if you would like. If you got somebody who is old school, just wants to listen on the radio to these updates, that's fine as well. If you're inside the listening area of our radio station, it's 104.7 FM on the dial. And, of course, we've got the streaming audio going as well on our website at WVRCFM.com. I'm Andrew Miller alongside Joe McDonald, and we are going to be here throughout the evening. Of course, the polls closed just 15 minutes ago, 7:30 on the dot. The polls closed, and we are just anxiously, nervously, excitedly waiting for some of these results to start coming in again. We got to wait for them to get here from the precinct. They've got to be uploaded onto the system, and then once these results start coming out, we will get some results to you guys. We're just kind of in a holding pattern, and again, once we start seeing these results, it's going to come fast and furious.
Yes.
Not to Rob, that's a franchise tag.
Right. Yeah, when the papers start rolling, that's when it gets interesting, because then that's what Drew and I, we actually have something to talk about. Right now we're anxiously awaiting, and and we're going to cover all the races tonight, all the way from president, all the way down to the nonpartisan races, to the school levy. We're covering everything tonight. But here are the races that Drew and I are going to watch. And keep in mind, this is going to be a heavy Republican discussion tonight because there's most of the candidates on the races are Republican races to watch. We're covering the Democrat, we're covering the Mountain, we're covering all of that. But a lot of those races, either they don't have a candidate in that spot, or they was running unopposed, so they automatically get to go on to the next round. Yeah. I feel like a game show host. I'm not sure which game show. You go on to the next round.
What is a next round game show host? Would it be like Monty Hall
or like American Idol?
There you go. We're like American Idol right now.
Yeah, we're handing out the golden tickets to all the people that don't have to worry about a competition tonight.
I hope they all like us.
Yeah.
We'll do. Oh, hey. Thank you very much, Ricky Ahart, watching from Clay County.
All right.
Well, originally from Clay County. I don't know where he's watching from nowadays, but he's watched a few of our streams, wrestling-wise. And
perfect.
We don't have any races right now affecting Clay County that we know of.
Not
waiting for Katie to help us out with that.
Yeah, Katie's like, hold on, guys, let me see.
There may be a few. Well, I guess the governor's race and the state senate.
The state races. Yeah. So speaking of the governor's race, so the Republican governor's race is one we're going to be watching heavily. The Secretary of State's race on the Republican side, the Republican House of Delegates race, the Fifth Circuit judge race is a heavy one we're going to really watch. The family court one is another one. The magistrate court, let me see which one that is, because we have two magistrate court races tonight. The first one is Jason Bennett, which he's running unopposed, so he gets to sit home and look for Division 2. So Jason,
here's the other one. Here's the other one.
Yeah, Division 2 is the one to watch for magistrate court between Ron White and Terry Bradshaw.
Of course, Ron White is the incumbent. Terry Bradshaw is opposing him in this election, so that'll be an interesting to follow. Interesting one to follow.
And then the county commission race is going to be an interesting one, and the board of education levy. That's been a heavily. I've seen it on Facebook the last 2 weeks because that's when early voting started. Ever since early voting started, the board of education levy has been a heavy topic for discussion. I have not participated. I try to stay out of that as best I can because everybody has their own opinion.
Listen, that's why as a media owner, I stay away from all political conversations because I'm going to cover this tonight.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything that I say to get out there and be affecting anybody's decision-making. So we've just sat here quietly, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for tonight to start.
Yes, so those races in particular, we may pay a little extra attention to, but we're covering everything tonight. And then Katie handed me this paper a little bit ago. She's going to be in charge of the Calhoun and surrounding counties, getting us numbers for those. So she's got us for the Magistrate Division 1 race over in Calhoun County between Maria Arnold and Richard Postaway. The Sheriff's race over there between Graham Knight and Jeff Starcher. And then the County Commission Division 3 race between Roger Probst and Araya White.
Yeah, that Sheriff's race is going to be a fun one as well because, again, either candidate is going to be a really nice addition to the sheriff. Right now, Graham Knight appointed as the sheriff, and Jeff Starcher, who's originally from over there, has been over here with the city police for quite a while, and he's trying to head back to his home county and see what happens over there. That'll be an interesting race to follow. Folks, again, we are just waiting for some results to come in. What we're going to do is we're going to go off of the radio side of things. We hope that once we go back on the radio, we will have significant updates to results to you. Stick around with us on Facebook and YouTube. Again, if you have any questions, comments, send it to us on the comments section. Please like and share this video. The more eyes, the more people know what we're doing here at the county courthouse. We're going to send it away to the radio, up to the studio with Marissa. We'll come back here at the top of the hour, at the 8 o'clock hour. We'll hopefully have some results from some of these very hotly contested local and state races for you.
I love this breaking news. Katie brought us a paper for Clay County. So the heavy watched races for over there is for Magistrate Division 1, the race between Scott Bass, Andy Bragg, and Ryan Thomas. Division 2, Magistrate between, there's a lot of people going for Division 2. Wesley Arms, Jeff Davis, Nicole Summers, Frankie Joe West, and Brandy Stubberwood. And then Board Education Division B between Mike Mullins and David Pearson Jr. So that is another set of races we will keep an eye on. That we'll get updates as soon as we can. So if anybody has any questions about how things are going to go tonight, please feel free to hit us up. And Drew, if you don't mind, sir, I'm going to go take a sneak peek real quick and see if any papers are starting to fly this way.
Joe is excited, to say the least, and again, we all are. This is if you're a follower of politics or a casual follower of politics, but if you're really interested in these local races, you're like us. You're chomping at the bit to get some numbers. That's what we want, is the cold hard numbers for some of these very, very big races. And, of course, we've got the list of some of the races that we're following. If you have a race that you guys are following, may not be one that we have particularly highlighted at all, let us know online. It'd be interesting for us to follow what you guys are following. We're just excited about this primary election. Of course, a lot still to be determined after tonight. A lot of these Republicans may be unopposed in the general election. Some of them have some Democratic candidates who are just their lone selves, and they are already ready to go for the general election in some of those races. And we're excited to see what's going to shake out once that happens. And, of course, we've got to wait for the canvassing and the official results to come in. And once the official results come in, we're going to start seeing some more advertising in the media. I hope, for my radio station's sake, that these candidates that continue through into the general election decide to utilize the radio station to get the word out about their campaigns. Of course, we saw our good buddy Jim Cooper from the Roane County Reporter, Spencer Newspapers. Boy, we are lucky, by the way. I want to say that. We are lucky here in Roane County. We have a full-time weekly newspaper, and we have a radio station. In a town like this, in a community like this, in a county like this, it is hard to get that, and we do get great coverage. Of course, we're having the coverage here on election night. All those results will be ready to go. Unofficial results will be ready to go in the paper. You'll be able to read about them. And, of course, you'll get some pictures and stuff like that. And saw Jim there earlier waving at him. We're both loaded up with coffee, I think.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long night. Now, it's not as long as it used to be.
Yes.
Now, back in the day when it was hand counting, we're talking about, I remember days when John Gregory was working at the radio station. He was covering the results for the elections. And I remember deep into the midnight hour listening on the radio to him and his results, because it took a whole lot longer back in the day.
I remember listening to those sitting at home, and you could just go on all night. And then you're sitting at home wishing that, hoping they'll be done by 11, and then, it's 11:30, 12 o'clock, and they're still reporting. And eventually you hear them go, we'll give you the rest of the results in the morning, and you're going, and it's almost like the old Batman cliffhangers. Tune in next time, same bat chime, same bat channel. And you're going, no,
I don't like that. I want the information now. Well, what did you find out back there? Are they still just working numbers, or what?
Yes, they are hard at work. So I just kind of peeked in, and Shelly and Patricia, they stopped and said, "What do you need?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm just looking to see how things are going. Any word yet?" And they're all hard at work, so I didn't want to be a burden. So I just kind of peeked in and then stepped back out.
I was pulling up Metro News. Of course, West Virginia Metro News has tremendous coverage as well of statewide, local, county-by-county races, and, of course, national races. 2 justices to the West Virginia Supreme Court were selected before voting even began. Haley Bunn and Charles Trump, unopposed for the high courts. And so there's 2 right there that we could call.
Well, we could go ahead and call all the unopposed we have.
Well, let's go ahead and pull those up again.
Okay.
And, of course, as Joe McDonald mentioned, there is a little bit of a time frame where somebody from the Independent or Democratic Party can push somebody into that position and run against these automatic winners. But as of right now,
on certain races.
Yeah, on certain races, we can call a lot of these races here that didn't have an opponent. So let's take a look at those automatic winners that you have listed.
Yes, so if you are a gambler, these are the guaranteed winners. So place your bets on these, and you'll guarantee win tonight. Now, I can't talk about November. November's not here yet, but here's the ones to place your bets on right now. On the Republican ticket, we have Larry Pack won as treasurer. Glenn Jeffries has won as a state senator for the 8th district. On the nonpartisan ballot, we have Haley Bunn winning the Justice of the Supreme Court of Appeals Division 1, Charles S. Trump IV winning Justice of the Supreme Court of Appeals Division 2, Laura Dyer winning the Judge of the Circuit Court 5th Circuit Division 1, Richard Craig Tatterson winning Judge of the Circuit Court 5th Circuit Division 2, locally Jason Bennett winning the Magistrate Division 1, and go to the next screen here, and Daniel Minardi is going to be the new prosecuting attorney for Roane County. Philip Deaver has been reelected as sheriff of Roane County. Emily Westfall has been reelected for Roane County assessor. Steve Williams has, on the Democrat ticket, we have Steve Williams for governor, Thornton Cooper as secretary of state, Mary Ann Roebuck Clater for auditor, Deborah Stiles for commissioner of agriculture, Juliana Penfold for House of Delegates 5th District. And then on the mountain parties, we have Jill Stein for president, Chase Linko Looper for governor, and then Ty Ward let us know earlier, and let me go back to the chats here to see if I can find it, that on the Libertarian Party, they have nominated for governor Erica Kolanich, and then for U.S. Senate, David Moran. So we have all these people that are automatically moving on to the next round.
Not that I'm doubling up here. I'm watching a little bit of regional baseball coverage on Video Productions right now. Do apologize for that. I swear I'm focused solely on election results, though. We're just waiting for election results to come in. That's the only thing we're waiting for. And again, if we don't have them, folks, they don't have them yet. We will be the first people that officially publicly release these as they come in and the precincts get going.
Right. And I can say, well, most counties, and I'm speaking from experience, working with several counties over the years, doing election night results, they don't typically send out results after they update every precinct. Usually it's 4 to 5.
Yes.
Depending on how the flow and how many people are coming in all at the same time, how many precincts are coming in at the same time. When I just stepped up there to see how things were going, there's a line of candidates. The room's already full of candidates waiting with bated breath on to see how the numbers are going. We have precincts lining up, and there's current county commission. Let me get him pointed in the right direction here. County Commissioner Andy Corcoran here in the background.
Yeah.
Yes. So we the room is full of people that are, well, it's safe to say, are more nervous than us.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, there is no nerves for us, but these candidates are waiting impatiently or patiently. They're waiting.
I'm going to say you can speak for yourself because I'm nervous for these folks.
Well, we're going to go live, folks, again on the radio here in about 3 minutes. We're going to let ABC News run. And then I do want to thank again Marissa, my new employee. She learned the board for this special coverage tonight. And so she is up there by herself working the board for this, getting us on the radio so we can get the information as quickly as it comes to you all here. And again, once we get the information, you guys will get the information, and you won't get any faster than this. We're the first ones. Well, unless Katie gets it before we do.
Yeah, she just stepped out, so she...
Their wives are nervous, by the way.
Yeah, there's some not only nervous candidates, but their spouses and significant others as well.
Well, Joe, I'm going to step away here for a second to get the call into the radio station. We're going to go live on the radio here in about 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll keep waiting on the coverage here.
All right, so now that I don't have any adult supervision, send your questions away. I have to say I have not heard any official totals today on, of course, we'll get an idea roughly probably by the end of the night on how many voters have come through, but there was a huge turnout for early voting. I won't give any numbers because I don't really know the exact numbers. We're planning on speaking with the county clerk, Cena McDonald, at the end of tonight's broadcast. She is a very busy lady right now, and she might be able to throw us some actual numbers. So if anybody's wondering how many people turned out to vote, I know for a fact there was a huge number for early voting, and I haven't heard on how many votes. Of course, we won't know till later on tonight anyway, but that'll be a question for Miss Cena McDonald. We'll ask her after everything's finished up and wrapped up for the night.
Joe, we got about 3 minutes, I'd say.
All right, so So I have 3 to 4 minutes I have to sit and be a filler is what you're saying, sir.
Relax.
You know me, I can't sit still. This is why I don't drink coffee, because I have enough trouble sitting still the way it is. So, without calling out your candidate of choice, let us know in the comments which race you're going to be watching for tonight. Oh, you're welcome, Benjamin. Happy to do it. This is fun for us. This is.
It would only be more fun if we were looking at the candidates' faces as they were coming, as the results were coming in.
Oh, we could set that up.
Third candidate.
Yeah, we said I'd have to talk to Secretary of State's office about that to make sure like we can point it in the right direction. Or we could just I know what we could do. We could set them all in the commission. Well, get all the voting machines out there, set them all in the commission room, like just set a camera on there. Almost like an episode of Big Brother. You just sit and watch them just nervously. Yes. And then our faces show up on the screen. Candidates, how are you tonight? Who wants to win immunity for the next round? Well, thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, we try to be entertaining. This is a very stressful and very nerve-wracking event. So if we can do anything to keep everyone entertained while nerves are running at their highest, we try.
$17 trillion on ABC News there.
Holy cow. Me too. I could do things. But being the irresponsible adult that I am, I would end up buying something that I don't need. Well, I buy a lot of things I wouldn't need.
How we doing time-wise there, FOB? Beautiful, beautiful. 45 seconds.
All right. I could sit and sing a song, but we want people to say and watch, not.
Katie's walking there.
Uh-oh. No. What's that on? NBC News? Okay. Ooh. Ooh. So while we're waiting, Katie has sent us, we can do primary results around the state. Yeah.
Hi, welcome back, folks, on the radio side of things. Anybody out there listening in their vehicle on 104.7 FM WVRC, or anybody who might be outside the listening area who prefers just audio, and you can listen to us on our streaming website at WVRCFM.com. Just go to our main webpage, and there's a button that you just push that says play, and you can listen to us here. I'm Andrew Miller. Joe McDonald is with me. And again, we are patiently awaiting any results that come in from Roane County races, local races, of course, the state races, U.S. Senate races, and, of course, the presidential races as well. But we've got a few things that we can go through. We've got a few other websites that we're keeping tabs on for some of these races that we do have going on. A big thank you to Katie White for being here and helping us out with information. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for all the information we can give you as best we can possibly give it to you. So, Joe, we're still waiting for Roane County precincts.
Yes.
And we're waiting for them to get those informational packets to us so we can get you guys the information. But we do have some interesting races that we could look at as far as the overall is concerned with some of these West Virginia primary election results.
Yeah, so according to NBC News right now, I'm scrolling through here, and for the Republican presidential candidate, now this is across the state of West Virginia. These are just based on a handful of counties that are reporting already. Donald Trump is to be the projected winner of the Republican ticket, with Nikki Haley coming in second and Rachel Swift taking third place. And there's a breakdown of just about 4-5 counties across the entire state that's reporting in so far.
So very, very early results.
Yeah. And then NBC is projecting Joe Biden, the incumbent for president, to be the projected Democrat winner, with Jason Palmer being second place and Stephen Lyons in third place.
And again, neither of those two are. We expect that. Obviously, the question is going to be, when the 55 counties are all added up, what is the amount that each candidate received versus those others in the race with them?
And right now, that's the projected. These are just pure estimates on their end. This is that they expect these people to win.
Yes.
It could be a complete flip-flop by the time actual numbers start rolling in.
Of course, we got a couple people in there checking in on the races. Obviously, we are also awaiting the race for Judicial Circuit 5, Division 3, between the incumbent Anita Ashley and Roane County Prosecuting Attorney Josh Downey, who is leaving that position.
Yes.
And we have a new prosecuting attorney coming in. So that's one of the hotly contested races. We have been waiting very patiently to see. And, of course, some of the other ones we got on our list, we're looking forward to getting some results in on. We just had, of course, the opportunity to take a look at some of those national sites that do have some reports coming in from the whole state, and that'll help us out because we're focused on Roane County, Calhoun County for some of those races. Of course, we do have some of those Clay County races that Katie White has looked up for us.
Yes.
We're looking for information on a couple of these Roane County races. We're talking about, of course, the House of Delegates race on the Republican side between Rick Atkinson and the incumbent Erica Moore. That covers a majority of Work County and Roane County. So we're looking for information coming in from Work County as well as the information we'll get from here. And, of course, that judicial seat, 5th Circuit, Division 3, that will cover parts of Mason, Jackson, Calhoun, and Roane County.
Yes.
So we're hoping to get some results from those outstanding counties as well as what we're going to get here.
Right, because that's one of those races where it gets it's a real big nail biter, because the candidate that you voted for may have a huge lead in Roane County, but doesn't mean that they will win overall, because just because they win in Roane County, those races cover so many counties that they could win Roane County and lose all three, or even scarier, they split the votes between the counties. That's where it gets real nail biter. When you have a race that's within 10 votes of each other, those are when it gets really scary, because tonight is the unofficial results. Nothing is set in stone until next week when canvass happens. And we've talked about it a few times, so I'm not going to go in great detail unless somebody asks a question. But if your candidate at the end of tonight is ahead by 3 votes, that's not a guaranteed win. That's why they're the unofficial results, because literally those races could flip next week based on provisional votes and late absentees.
Now, there are some Roane County specific races that we're going to be watching that, even though it will not be official tonight, you can kind of get a feel for it if there's a big lead on one side, a big lead on the other. A couple of things we're looking at is obviously the BOE levy.
Yes.
The Roane County Board of Education levy, that's one that we're going to keep our eye on. Of course, it won't be official until then, but if you can look at it and say, this thing is going down to defeat, or this thing is definitely passing, that's something we might be able to talk about at that point. Some of these other races, like you mentioned, of course, the county commissioner race between Andy Corcoran and Caleb Greathouse, that's one that is Roane County specific, that when we get these results coming in, we'll be able to kind of get a feel for that one. And so there's a few of those that we'll be able to unofficially call here tonight, but the rest of them we won't be able to.
Well, we might be able to get a read on, because some of these races, Drew, it may come down to the wire. Some of these we may be able to see, it's a huge swing one way or the other, but it literally could be a precinct by precinct, baby step. They're ahead by 5 votes here. Oh, next report, it flipped, and the other person's ahead by 3 votes. It could. For our side, I hope it is like that, because it makes for an interesting night. For these poor candidates, it makes you want to pull your hair out.
We did have one question. Anybody get the weekend's Darlington NASCAR race results in yet? Jimmy Johnson, is he still racing?
As far as I know.
I'm going to bet him. How about that? I have no prior knowledge to that, but I'm going to bet Jimmy Johnson. If not, is Sterling Marlin still racing?
I think so.
Okay. Dale Jr.'s not racing anymore?
No, Dale Jr. finally retired. He had some head and neck issues going on.
Anyways, I'm going to go with Jimmy Johnson. How about that? That's not a result. I wouldn't put money on that. Whoever was chiming in for that one. Folks, we are here again at the county courthouse. We are live on the radio right now. We're going to send it away again for just a little bit. We're going to let Marissa up there play some music for us. We're going to stay live as per usual the whole time here on Facebook and on YouTube. So we invite you all to please, 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 we beg of you, share this video with your friend list, because the more people that get this, the more people know about it, the more it helps our station out. You can like the video, you can share the video, you can comment to us, anything that you want to comment. If you have any questions, comments, we'll take all of that as well. We'll stay live there on our YouTube and Facebook channels. We're going to send it back to the radio station for just a bit. We'll check in. Let's see, it is 8:10, so we're going to check in right about 8:20, and hopefully at that point, we have some of the results coming in from some of the precincts here in all these hotly contested races that you guys are looking forward to. Till then, we're going to send it back to Marissa at the studio. We'll check in on the radio in about 10 minutes.
All right, Drew, I'm going to take us another sneak peek real quick.
We're going to go live again right about 8:20. Let's do 8:22. That'll give it's about 10 minutes, a little more than 10 minutes. So I'll call you at about 8:20.
Okay.
All right. Is it really? You pull it up for me? All right, Joe is in there scrounging for information. And while that happens, of course, Katie White is with us. You're going to see her just for a second here in the camera. She said that the governor primary results are getting very interesting early. Of course, very, very, very early. Just 9% expected votes in. There's still a whole lot of votes out there. But at the moment, very, very close race at the top. Patrick Morrissey right now with 35% of the votes. More Capito in second with 32%. Mac Warner coming up third right now with 20% of the votes. Then Chris Miller with 11. And then rounding out the top six, Kevin Christian and then Mitch Roberts. So, again, just 9% of the votes there. So not a lot of polling just yet. Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 precincts being reported so far across the 55 counties here in West Virginia. But that's very interesting. 2 at the top and 1 very close by. And that's way too early to call, but very interesting. We'll try to keep our eye on that as the evening progresses. We're going to go back live on the radio at about 8:22. And again, Joe McDonald is back there trying to ruffle some feathers, trying to see if he can get some information. Of course, he won't get it if they don't have it. If they have it, then and they have it available, we're going to have it as soon as that happens. Again, some of the hotly contested races in counties near us. Magistrate Division 1 over in Clay County between Scott Bass, Andy Bragg, and Ryan Thomas. Division 2, there's a bunch in Division 2 for Magistrate. We got Wesley Arms, Jeff Davis, Nicole Summers, Frankie Joe West, and Brandy Stubert Wood. And then for the Board of Education in Division B, Mike Mullins and David Pearson Jr. battling it out for that position. Over in Calhoun County, you've got Magistrate Division 1, and that is Maria Arnold and Richard Postlewaite, who is the incumbent in that race. For sheriff, got 2 really solid candidates for sheriff, and both in the Republican Party. Graham Knight, who is currently the appointed sheriff over there, and then Jeff Starcher, who was originally from the Calhoun County area, has been over with the city police here in Spencer for a bit, heading back there trying to become the sheriff there. And then the County Commission in Division 3 for an unexpired term, looking at Roger Probst and Araya White going at it there in Calhoun County. Do appreciate everyone tuning in. We're very happy to be here. We're very happy to get the information as soon as it comes out. We do promise. And Cruz, no, I will not let this election make my hair go gray. It will only be if I was running for an office that my hair would go gray. And don't worry, that is never, ever going to happen. You know how people say that sometimes. They beat around the bush. Somebody says, would you ever run for this? No. This is an emphatic 100%, 1000% no. I will never, ever run for public office. I don't have the stones for that, folks. I tell you what, I do appreciate anybody, though, who throws their hat in the ring for this stuff. It is a often thankless job. It doesn't pay well. Many of these positions don't pay well, but a lot of people really do step up and consider it their civic duty to get involved in some of these positions. And again, these local races are so important to the people of Roane County, Calhoun County, Jackson, Wirt, Mason County. These are the results that we're interested in because these people step up big. And just to put your name in and to go through the grind of running a campaign and going door to door and doing events, it's not for the faint of heart. So anybody who puts their name in and anybody who runs for these positions, we do have a lot of respect for, no matter who wins, no matter who loses. It really is an amazing thing that these people are doing to get themselves set up. Absolutely. My former boss, Melissa O'Brien, thank you for tuning in. We will be here until we get some results. How about that? This is kind of odd because in every year past, the precincts close at 7:30. And usually by about 7:45, we are getting overloaded with results, paper results coming in. And we're trying to dissect all these results as they're coming in. Just about the time we get a total for one, another one comes in. So it's really difficult for us to keep up. And right now, it is almost a full hour since the precincts have closed. We're about 46, 47 minutes away from the precincts having been closed at 7:30. And we still don't have any results, so it's going to come flying in fast and furious here in just a little bit. Again, folks, we're going to go live on the radio in about 6 more minutes, so stay tuned with us. And again, Joe's back there trying to ruffle some feathers. He does know the county clerk, so hopefully he can get something here. I appreciate that, Jason. Yeah, we're glad to do this. It's fun for us. There's no stress in this for myself or Joe. We're just having a good time here, and we're happy to be able to give you guys the results. We're just happy to be able to do this, and we're just hoping we get some results sometime in the near future. Those of you out there in TikTok land, we appreciate you all joining us. TikTok's a new avenue for us. Oh, I get the mouthing of the words. The results are coming. Oh, my gosh. Joe McDonald comes sliding in Bo Duke style. Well, Joe, I'm going to give you a chance to update those on your graphic. About the time you're done with that, we're going to go live on the radio. How about that?
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Yeah, if I was a little younger and a little dumber, I would try to Bo Duke across that countertop.
That would have been fun to see. That would have been fun to see.
At a different time, at a different age, I probably would have. Okay.
Take your time with that, Joe. We got about 5 minutes before we're going to go live.
Right,
so
perfect.
You should have plenty of time to get that going. Then it's all just updating at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I lucked out and walked in right at the right time.
Good thing Joe knows how to type and use Excel. How about that? I got nothing there.
Holy cow.
It is very exciting, though. We do have some results finally for you guys with some precincts. Do we have how many precincts we have at least?
Right now, we have 4 precincts and early voting.
Okay, so early voting and 4 precincts. How many do we have here? 18?
I think so.
Katie, 18 precincts here in Roane County? She doesn't look confident about that question being asked. So, and again, this is just the Roane County results. We're still going to hopefully get some help from numbers coming in. I've got my phone out waiting for some text messages. Hopefully we can have some people getting a hold of us with some of those results for some of the races that include Wirt County or include the Jackson, Mason, and Calhoun County area. We're hoping. We cannot promise you, but we're hoping to get some of those results. While Joe is typing that in, folks, I'm going to look for a phone call here. I'm going to try to get us ready to get back on the air. And, again, we've got about 3 or 4 minutes. Once we come on the air, it's time to give you guys some early results. Again, 4 precincts at the moment and some early voting. So hold tight, folks.
Oh, this makes life so much easier.
And we welcome you back on the radio, folks. We are here at the county courthouse in Roane County, West Virginia. We have been anxiously awaiting results to come in for all of the local, all of the state, and all the national races here for primary election coverage in 2024. Again, it took a little bit. They did have some early voting that they had to put in as well, but Joe is flying through getting these updates put on the graphics, and here in just a second we are going to explain these to those of you out in radio land who are just listening in, and of course on our website, Listen Live app on WVRCFM.com. Those of you who have been with us and continue to be with us on TikTok, on YouTube, and on Facebook, you're going to get to see, well, the TikTok won't, but on YouTube and Facebook, you guys are going to get to see the graphic results here. And again, these are only for Roane County right now. We have 4 precincts and early voting put in so far. Those are the only things we have so far. But what's going to happen is Joe's going to be working hard, updating numbers from here on out. There's a lot of races here. Of course, some of the most hotly contested races we're thinking about, obviously the BOE levy, the Board of Education levy. That's a yes or a no vote from the citizens of Roane County on that one. Obviously, a couple of the local races we are keeping tabs on. We're going to try to get some information for you all from the other counties that will be involved in this. Fifth Circuit Judge, Division 3, the race between the incumbent, Anita Ashley, and the former prosecuting attorney in Roane County, Josh Downey. That will involve Roane County, parts of Mason, Jackson, and Calhoun counties. So we do have some early results for that race, and of course that's one a lot of people are looking at. Of course, the Republican side for the House of Delegates in District 15, that is Rick Atkinson, who was formerly the delegate representative for Roane County and the Work County area, and then Erica Moore, who took over, was appointed when Riley Keaton left that position. So she is trying to stay in that position at least until the general election. Of course, on the Democratic side there, Juliana Penfold is awaiting the winner of that race. Of course, in the local races here, County Commission, we are looking at a very close race, probably between Andy Corcoran, who is the incumbent, and between he and Caleb Greathouse, who is a first-time runner. So we've got a lot of different races that we're looking at. Of course, the magistrate in the second division between the incumbent Ron White and Terry Bradshaw. So there's some very interesting races that we're going to be looking at here. So, Joe?
Yes, sir.
I gave you enough time there, right?
Yes, sir.
So we have got some results here. Again, this is Roane County. This is 4 precincts out of the 18 and early voting. So let's go through all of these races. And those of you out there in YouTube and Facebook going to get a chance to take a look at these results, but we'll go through them with you for everybody here on the radio as well.
All right, so here we go. Drum roll, countdown, 3, 2, 1, boom. Well.
Oh, that is so anticlimactic.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. Okay, so on the Republican ticket for the President of the United States candidate on the Republican ticket, Donald J. Trump is showing a huge lead right now based on this first report of 86% of the vote. Next in line is Nikki Haley, pulling in 12% of the vote. Rachel Hannah Mohawk Swift and David Stuckenberg are pulling in 1% of the vote. And Ryan Binkley is showing below 1%. Let me pull up the exact numbers of how many votes Ryan Binkley's pulled in to give you an idea. Ryan Binkley apparently must have pulled, oh no, he pulled 5 votes.
It's not a lot.
No.
So obviously Donald Trump right now with a healthy lead here in Roane County with 4 precincts in early voting.
So going to U.S. Senator, we have Jim Justice with a huge lead right now, pulling 68% of the vote. Next would be Alexander Mooney, pulling in 23%. And then we have a 4-way tie between 2% of the vote between Don Lindsay and Brian McKinney and Janet McNulty and Zane Lawhorn. all pulling in 2% of the vote, and then Brian Bird in last place pulling 1% of the vote on that race.
Let's see the actual vote totals here.
Okay,
While
yeah.
you get the percentages for me, I'll try to follow along with that. So we're looking at the U.S. Senator votes with 4 precincts in early voting right now. Jim Justice with 584 votes to the next best, which is Alex Mooney with 200 in that race.
All right, ready to go to the next?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
ready to go.
All right, so for U.S. House Representatives, 1st Congressional District, Republican, Carol Miller is in the lead right now with 70% of the vote, with Derek Evans pulling in 30% of the vote.
That's 553 for Carol Miller, 234 at the moment for Derek Evans.
For the governor's race on the Republican ticket, holy cow, it's a tight race.
Absolutely.
Right now, Moore Capito is in the lead at 30%, and we have new numbers. Thank you. Moore Capito is pulling 30% of the vote, with Chris Miller falling right behind at 27%. And then Mac Warner is not too far behind at 26% of the vote. Patrick Morrissey's pulling 15% of the vote. And then Mitch Roberts and Kevin Casey Christian is splitting the last bits of vote.
And I looked at that while you were back there trying to ruffle up some feathers there, and Katie pulled up the statewide race, about 9%, only 9 precincts looking in there. That's a very close race at the state level as well. But right now in Roane County, Moore Capito with a very slim lead, 259, 235 for Chris Miller, Mac Warner with 229.
Holy cow, wow. And we just got a new set of numbers, so I'm not even going to look at these numbers right now.
Yeah, we'll get to those in a minute.
Okay, so for Secretary of State on the Republican ticket, Chris Warner right now has a very healthy lead at 53%. Next is Doug Scaff Jr., and then we have Brian Wood in 3rd place, and then Ken Reed is pulling in the last 5% of the vote on that.
And Chris Warner with 413 votes, 181 for Doug Scaff Jr., 153 for Brian Wood.
For auditor on the Republican ticket, Mark Hunt has a huge lead right now at 63%. Next in line would be Caleb Hanna at 16%, Tricia Jackson with 11%, and then Eric L. Householder with 10%.
Okay, and that is 476 for Mark Hunt here in Roane County with the 4 precincts and the early voting, to just 123 for Caleb Hanna. Big lead for Mark Hunt.
For Commission of Agriculture, we have Kent Leonhardt with a huge, no, I'm going to back this up here. It's not a huge lead. He's in the lead right now, 46% of the vote. Joshua Kurt Higginbotham is right behind at 41%, and Roy Ramey pulling in 13%.
Yeah, in Roane County with 4 precincts and early voting, 341 for Leonard and 302 for Higginbotham.
Next up for Attorney General, we have John J.B. McCuskey with a pretty healthy lead right now, 66% of the vote, with Mike Stewart pulling in 34%.
Yeah, basically 2-1 here. 509 for McCuskey, 257 for Stewart.
For House of Delegates, 15 delegate district, one of these heavily watched races here locally. Erica Moore right now is ahead at 64%, with Martin Rick Atkinson at 36%.
And again, 554 for Erica Moore, 314 for Rick Atkinson. That only includes 4% of Roane County. We're waiting for those other results as well.
Yes. Okay, now switching over to the Democrat ticket real quick. We are for President Joseph R. Biden Jr. is a huge lead right now at 80% of the vote, 83% of the vote. Next in line is Jason Michael Palmer with 8% of the vote. And then we have Armando Mando Perez Cerrado at 4%, and then Stephen P. Lyons at 3%, and then Dean Phillips bringing up the back of the votes with 2%.
I was looking for the numbers on that.
Keep scrolling a couple more pages.
Keep scrolling a couple more pages. All right.
Yeah, right there, right there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Joseph R. Biden, 251, to the next best with his Jason Michael Palmer, 24. So, again, that's what we expected.
Yeah. So, for U.S. Senator, we have Zachary Shrewsbury in the lead right now with 44% of the vote. Next in line is Glenn Elliott at 35%, with Don Blankenship pulling up 21%.
Yeah, 135 votes for Shrewsbury, 110 for Elliott, 66 for Blankenship.
Next up for U.S. House Representatives, 1st Congressional District, Chris Bob Reed has a huge lead right now at 71%, with Jim Umberger pulling in 29%.
And that's about a 3-1 lead, 207 votes to 85 for Reed over Umberger.
For Attorney General, we have Richie Robb pulling in pretty healthy lead right now at 65%, with Teresa Torresiva pulling in 35%.
Yeah, that's one of those few contested races on the Democratic side. Richie Robb with 198, Torresiva with 106. Hope I got that right.
Next up, for the election of judge of the Intermediate Courts of Appeals Division 1, we have 3 candidates with a huge lead right now, with S. Ryan White pulling 77% of the vote, Michael S. Schultz pulling in 14%, and Elgene Hector McArdle pulling in 9% of the vote.
Taking a look at that, that's a huge lead for S. Ryan White. 753 votes to 140 for Schultz and 90 for McArdle. So that's a pretty big runaway right now on the Democratic side.
It could very quickly change within a couple with this next report. So for the Fifth Circuit, Third Division judge, Anita Harold Ashley pulling a pretty healthy lead right now, 66% of the vote, with Joshua Downey pulling 34%.
I'm trying to find that. Give me just a second.
Go back
there
to the. Okay.
So it's a 2-1 lead at the moment with 4% and early voting. 829 for Anita Harold Ashley, 418 for Josh Downey. Interesting. 4 write-in totals.
Yeah. Now, but now those are probably. So, did you vote for Swolby for?
I did not. I did not.
Circuit judge. Here I go. We talk about not talking about politics, and I'm asking you, did you write Swolby?
Yeah. No, I did not write Swolby in for any of these.
Okay, so for family court judge, Betty Gregory pulling in a healthy lead right now at 67%, with Theodore Ted Davington pulling 33% of the vote.
689 for Gregory to 333 for Davington.
On the magistrate run, Ron White pulls a very healthy lead right now at 83%, with Terry Bradshaw coming in at 17%.
That's 1,017 votes already for Ron White, 208 right now for Terry Bradshaw.
Holy cow. For county commissioner, this is going to be a little interesting one. Right now, Caleb Greathouse is pulling a healthy lead at 61%, with Andrew Corcoran at 39%. That's one race I don't feel comfortable calling right now, Drew.
Not at all.
Yeah.
There's so much to go with that. Right now, though, 520 for Caleb Greathouse, 334 for Andrew Corcoran.
For Conservation District Supervisor, David Goff is right now pulling a healthy lead at 66%, with Russell Wade pulling 34% of the vote.
Looking for that one. I'll have to find that one.
I think that was towards the end. It should be under like the nonpartisan.
Oh.
Okay, you should be check probably
Pretty
next
close
page.
to the last one. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so David Goff, 673 votes to 352 for Russell Wade.
Okay, and last and most certainly not least, for the education levy, right now it is down 55%. 45% of the vote is against it, and 45% is for the levy.
And that is very close right now. 604 against, 503 for. So that'll be interesting to see that one as it progresses through.
So that is where we are right now. I'm going to so glad you are covering the election results over in Radio Land. Good, clear picks and sound. Thanks, Jackie. All right, so we have a new set of reports, so I'm going to be
By the time he's loading those in, there's going to be a new set coming in. So, folks, we're going to break away from the radio real quick while Joe can get those new results posted. We're going to come right back, and we're going to give you the updated results. We have 4 precincts for Roane County in so far, plus early voting.
And right now, this paper I hold right here is 8 of the 18 precincts.
Okay, so we're getting up there very, very quickly. Folks, we're going to send it away to the radio for a little bit, and we'll come back on the radio here in about 5 or 10 minutes. It won't be long, folks. We'll be right back. Okay, let me break away to call her and let her know we're coming back on. And then, folks, stick around here just a second, as Joe is going to be violently crunching numbers.
Check. My mic's, I still got a hot mic.
And we welcome you back on the radio side. We have been live at the Roane County Courthouse on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok. We do welcome everybody to our radio and streaming telecast here of the 2024 primary election for the county of Roane County. Of course, there's some state races, some national races. One thing I did notice while we were on break was that Metro News has already called the state Senate race or the U.S. Senate race for Jim Justice. That was an interesting early call. The trend's going that way, so that's what they have called. We did not call anything, but West Virginia Metro News has called that race for Jim Justice early in this evening. I'm Andrew Miller alongside Joe McDonald, who has been furiously typing in our updated results. We do have some updates now for the Roane County races. We have some results for the local, state, and national races just based on now early voting and 8 of the 18 precincts in Roane County.
Now, I want to slow down, Drew, and you can tell me which way we want to go with this. I have some numbers for the judges race out of Jackson County.
Okay, let's go ahead and go with the Jackson County numbers, and we'll pull up the Roane County numbers that we have updated as well.
Okay, so for Jackson County, as of right now, out of Jackson County, I'm thinking my source here, there are 19 of 30 precincts reporting out of Jackson County, and as of right now, for the 5th Circuit Judicial race, Josh Downey is in the lead with 1,310 votes, and Anita Ashley has 1,212 votes.
Okay, so a close race for the Jackson County side of it, and for the Roane County side of it, 8 of 18 precincts. The lead is quite large for Anita Ashley right now, 1,157 votes to 580 for Josh Downey. And again, that's where those votes on those other counties will come into play as it gets closer and closer to the end. Right now, though, in Roane County at least, Anita Ashley up really about 2-1 in the voting with 8 of the 18 precincts.
Yeah, and right now Josh Downey's in the lead in Jackson County, but not a huge lead.
Yeah,
it could literally sway. It could literally go back and forth. So, all right, so let's pull up some Roane County numbers.
Let's absolutely do it.
Okay, so starting back at president on the Republican ticket, no surprise again, Donald Trump in the huge lead, pulling up at 88%. Next in line is Nikki Haley pulling 10% of the vote. Then we have Rachel Swift and Ryan Binkley pulling in 1% of the vote, and then David Stuckenberg pulling less than 1% of the vote.
1,042 for Donald Trump, just 115 for the next best. That's Nikki Haley.
Oh, hit the wrong button. There we go. All right, so for the Senate race, another huge lead. Jim Justice pulling 69% of the vote, which explains why Metro News is going ahead and call that.
True.
Following in line behind him is Alex Mooney at 23% of the vote, and then Janet McNulty and Brian McKinley and Zane Lawhorn all pulling in 2% of the vote, and then Don Lindsay and Brian Bird splitting the last bit of the vote.
The two main candidates here, Jim Justice, 807 in Roane County with 8 precincts, and early voting, just 269 for Mooney.
Next up for House of Representatives, 1st Congressional District, Carol Miller still in the lead at 69%, with Derek Evans pulling in 31%.
753 in Roane County for Carol Miller to 339 for Derek Evans.
For governor, it's another tight race. More Capito's in the lead at 29%, followed behind by Chris Miller at 28%. Drew, I could be wrong, but I thought Chris was pulling in 3rd spot the last time we checked.
He is still in 3rd, and it is still very, very close. More Capito in Roane County, 356 votes, 339 for Chris Miller. The next best, Mac Warner with 297, and then 184 for Patrick Morrissey in Roane County.
Yeah, Patrick Morrissey pulling in 15%, and then Casey Christian pulling in 2%, and then Mitch Roberts pulling in 1%. For Secretary of State, Chris Warner is in a heavy lead right now at 53% of the vote. Right behind him is Doug Scaff Jr. pulling in 24%. Brian Wood holding steady in 3rd at 18%, and Ken Reed at 5%.
Yeah, right now, Chris Warner, 566 votes in Roane County, 249 for Doug Scaff Jr., and 195 for Brian Wood. Again, 8 of the 18 precincts and early voting.
For auditor, Mark Hunt pulling a huge lead right now, 64% of the vote. Next in line to him is Caleb Hanna pulling in 15%, and then Eric Householder pulling in 10%, and Tricia Jackson at 11%.
Boy, I don't like this number. Mark Hunt with 666 votes.
Yeah.
Yikes. Right now in Roane County.
I need to hurry up get to the next precinct report. Or not precinct, summary report.
Yeah, he's up big, though. Caleb Hanna with 162, and then 117, 102.
For Commissioner of Agriculture, Kent Leonhardt is in the lead at 46%. Joshua Higginbotham, this one switched, Drew, because Joshua Higginbotham was in the lead at the beginning, and now this last report with eight precincts pulling in, Kent Leonhardt has taken the lead at 46% with Joshua Higginbotham biting at his ankles right now, 40%, with Roy Ramey pulling in 14% of the vote.
Yeah, still a very close race in Roane County. Obviously, 472 for Leonard and 410 for Higginbotham.
For Attorney General, J.B. McCuskey's pulling in 66% of the vote, and Mike Stewart pulling 34%.
What was that one again? Oh,
Attorney
McCuskey.
General.
Okay, yeah, Attorney General, 691 for McCuskey, 359 for Stewart. That's again in Roane County.
For House of Delegates, 15 delegate district, Erica Moore is pulling in a healthy lead right now, 65%, with Rick Atkinson pulling in 35%.
778 for Erica Moore and 418 for Rick Atkinson. I was looking down through here, by the way. A lot of the results that we're seeing in Roane County are mirrored at the state level. I was looking at a couple of these things. Of course, Chris Warner has a healthy lead in that Secretary of State over Doug Scaff Jr. and Brian Wood. Ken Reed in fourth place there. Very similar to a lot of the things that we're seeing in Roane County. It's kind of mirroring itself. The Commissioner of Agriculture, Ken Leonard, leading 2-1, though, in the race statewide, 23,000 votes to 12,000 votes in that race. So we are mirroring it, some closer than others.
Yes. Okay, switching over to the Democrat ticket for President. President Biden in the lead right now at 77% with Jason Palmer pulling in 12% of the vote, and then Stephen Lyons and Armando Perez Cerrado is tying at 4% of the vote, with Dean Phillips pulling in the last 3%.
Yeah, something you would expect. Not a lot of votes out there right now for the Democratic president candidate. 330 for Joe Biden, and the rest of them not even to 100 yet.
For U.S. Senator, this is another tight race. Glenn Elliott pulling in 37% of the vote. Zachary Shrewsbury in the lead right now with 39% of the vote, with Don Blankenship holding at 24%.
And this is very close in Roane County. 172 for Shrewsbury, 167 for Elliott. You look at the overall, though, Elliott leading 49% to Shrewsbury's 34% in the state.
For U.S. House of Representatives, 1st Congressional District, Chris Bob Reed pulling in a huge lead right now at 73%, with Jim Umberger pulling in 27%.
And that's big here in Roane County, 304 to 114, but it's a lot closer at the statewide race. 54% for Chris Bob Reed and 46% for Umberger. That is a difference of less than 1,000 votes.
Wow. For Attorney General, Richie Robb's in the lead right now, pulling in 64% of the vote, with Teresa Torsiva pulling in 36%.
Let me find that one. Okay, 275 for Richie Robb and Torsiva with 154, and that was the what was that one again?
The Attorney General on the Democrat ticket.
Oh, gosh, let me pull back here real quick. I just want to make sure I got these. So Attorney General Torsiva is actually leading pretty big here overall in the state. 59% of the votes to 41. That's a difference of about 5,000 votes in her favor.
So Roane County's pretty much following the trend on that one.
Yeah.
For the judge of the Intermediate Court of Appeals Division 1, S. Ryan White pulls a huge lead right now, pulling 76% of the vote, with Michael S. Schultz at 15% and Elgene Hector McArdle pulling in 9%.
Looking at Roane County, S. Ryan White with a big lead, 1,045 for him, and the next best is 198 for Schultz and 127 for McArdle. I was looking down to try to find that race as far as statewide, and statewide it's exactly the same. S. Ryan White leading with 57% of the vote. The next closest is McArdle with 24%. That is a lead of over 20,000 votes for S. Ryan White.
Holy cow. So for another race that everybody's watching is for the circuit judge. As of right now, Anita Harold Ashley pulling in 67% of the vote, with Josh Downey pulling 33%.
And again, this is Roane County, 8 of the 18 precincts in early voting. Anita Harold Ashley with 1,157 votes to 580 for Downey. You saw the Jackson County numbers.
And I just got another update from Jackson County.
And you got another update for Jackson County. What do you got for us?
All right. I just saw it on my phone here, so let me pull it up here.
I like the way you're in real time here.
Yeah. With 25 of the 30 precincts in Jackson County, As of right now, Josh Downey is in the lead with 1,653 votes to Anita Harold Ashley 1,543 votes.
So it's close over there. It's a little less close at the moment here in Roane County, and that doesn't include Mason
Or
and
Calhoun.
County. So that's going to be an interesting one still throughout the evening.
Yes. All right. So for family court judge, Betty Gregory is still in the lead at 66% compared to Ted Davington's 34%.
She's doubling him up 934 to 480 right now as Gregory leading.
For magistrate, it's safe to say this one, we can pretty much call this one
possible. It's possible.
It's going to never say never, but for magistrate, as of right now, Ron White is pulling out a huge lead at 83% to Terry Bradshaw 17%.
Yeah, 1,404 votes for Ron White. Terry Bradshaw right now with 289. Still 10 precincts left to go in that one.
Yeah, so it's easy to say, oh yeah, by these numbers right now we could call this, but stranger things have happened. Sure, as I do that, it'll go the other way, and CJ, you don't know what you're talking about. For county commissioner, another pretty close race. Caleb Greathouse is in the lead at 62% with Andy Corcoran's 38%.
Give me just a second to get back to that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this one's closed in just a little bit here. Caleb Greathouse with 725, Andrew Corcoran with 448. So that one's closed just a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, still that one's fairly close enough. You could pretty much call it either way. It could sway, especially if you get some big precincts in.
Absolutely.
For Conservation District Supervisor, David Goff still in the lead at 64% with Russell Wade's 36%.
Yeah, 919 for Goff, 517 for Russell Wade.
And then last and most certainly not least, the Board of Education levy. As of right now, it is 56% of the people are voting against the levy, with 44% voting for the levy.
Well, with the first four precincts, that was about 100 vote difference. Right now, it's up near 200 votes difference. Against the levy, 878, 681 for.
Now, we say that now, but I have another report.
So what we're going to do, folks, we're going to break away on the radio as Joe McDonald will continue to roll in the numbers. How many districts or how many precincts will we have here?
13.
We'll have 13 of the 18 finished here in Roane County when we return on the radio. Stick around with us, folks. We'll be back with continued coverage here on the primary election night for 2024. And we welcome you all back on our continuing live coverage of primary election night here in Roane County. We are awaiting updates as we go. We do have another set of updates. I'm Andrew Miller alongside Joe McDonald, giving you guys all the updated information you can get as it comes into us. If you have any questions on Facebook or YouTube, if you missed a result, don't be afraid to send us a comment. Say, hey, I missed a result in this. Let us know, and we'll get that information to you. But we do have another set of numbers coming out here for Roane County at least.
Okay, you need this one, sir.
And this is early voting and 13 of the 18 precincts in Roane County. There are some updates for Jackson County precincts for that big race between Anita Harold Ashley and Josh Downey for the Fifth Circuit judge. So we'll get into those numbers in here in just a minute. But Joe, let's head through it here as quickly as we can get through it.
Okay, so if you are following the judges race out of Jackson County, as of right now, as of 25 of 30 precincts being reported, Josh Downey is up 1,653 votes to Anita Harold Ashley at 1,543 votes. So now let's go to the numbers here. I just closed that. Okay, so on the Republican ticket, no surprise again, Donald J. Trump. We talked about this before we started. Donald J. Trump is in the lead. The question was by how much, and he's in the lead by 89% of the vote. Next up is Nikki Haley, pulling 9% of the vote. Rachel Swift pulling in 1% of the vote. Ryan Binkley pulling in 1% of the vote. And David Stuckenberg pulling in with less than 1% of the vote.
And that is mirroring West Virginia. 1,361 for Donald Trump, 139 for Nikki Haley. In the statewide version of this, 86% of the vote for Donald Trump. He is leading by 58,000 plus over Nikki Haley.
Okay. So for U.S. Senator, Jim Justice, again, pulling a huge lead. Metro News is already calling that race. Jim Justice pulling out of Roane County with 69% of the vote. Next in line was Alex Mooney with 23% of the vote. Brian Bird pulling 1% of the vote. Don Lindsay pulling in 1% of the vote. Janet McNulty pulling in 2% of the vote. Brian McKinney pulling in 2% of the vote. And Zane Lawhorn pulling in 2% of the vote.
Yeah, this is mirroring very similar. In fact, a little bigger lead in this race in Roane County for Jim Justice, 1,059 to just 347, with 24% complete in the state of West Virginia, 64% for Jim Justice. He leads, though, Alex Mooney by over 29,000 votes.
Wow. That was kind of hard to pull back from.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not very good at math, but that's a big number. For House of Representatives, 1st Congressional District, Carol Miller still pulling a healthy lead at 68%. She hasn't really wavered much lower than that.
Nah, really not. 973 in Roane County to 461 for Evans. And again, 66% statewide for Carol Miller. She leads by almost 10,000 votes over Miller.
For governor's race, it's still a nail biter, at least in Roane County.
Oh, and in the state, absolutely.
Is it? More Capito's in the lead right now at 29%, with Chris Miller falling in right behind at 28%. Mac Warner pulling in 23%, Patrick Morrissey pulling 17%, and Casey Christian pulling in 2% of the vote, and Mitch Roberts pulling in 1% of the vote.
Yeah, whoever survives this has to face off against Steve Williams on the Democrat side.
Holy
right
cow.
now, 452 for Moore Capito in Roane County, 442 for Chris Miller. He has come back into second at the moment, and then 362 for Mac Warner, 262 for Patrick Morrissey in fourth in Roane County. But right now, Patrick Morrissey statewide leads with 31% of the votes, and it is barely a 400-vote lead over Moore Capito with 30%. Chris Miller behind with 20% of the vote, so that's a very close race.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy is statewide, we're talking statewide less than 1,000 votes in between them.
Yeah, craziness.
That I guarantee you in the Capito and the Miller households right now, it is unease. For Secretary of State, Chris Warner pulling in 51% of the vote. Next in line is Doug Scaff Jr. pulling in 27%. Brian Wood, 17%, and Ken Reed pulling 5%.
And that's mirrored in the state race. 704 for Chris Warner with 13 precincts in early voting in Roane County to 371 for Doug Scaff Jr., 244 for Brian Wood. Right now, statewide, Chris Warner with 24% of the votes cast, 46% to 23% for Scaff. That's 16,000 plus for the lead.
For auditor, Mark Hunt pulling in 64% of the vote, followed behind by Caleb Hanna pulling in 15%, Tricia Jackson pulling in 11%, and Eric Householder pulling in 10% of the vote.
A little closer statewide, but right now Hunt with 868 in Roane County to 208 for Hanna. Statewide, Hunt with just a 39% lead, 26,771 votes. That's 9,000 plus better than Householder, who is next in line.
For Commissioner of Agriculture, another close race. But again, Kent Leonhardt is still in the lead as of right now with 45% of the vote. Josh Higginbotham still nipping at his heels at 41%, and Roy Ramey holding at 14%.
Yeah, in Roane County, it's very close, 607 to 549, but that doesn't mirror the state right now with 24% complete. It is Kent Leonhardt with 53% of the votes. He is leading by 16,000 plus over Higginbotham.
Wow. Attorney General, J.B. McCuskey pulling in 65% to Mike Stewart's 35%.
Let me take a look here. Okay, 898 votes for McCuskey to 477 for Stewart. That's a little closer in the statewide race. 60% for McCuskey. He leads Stewart by 14,000 plus votes.
Wow. Okay, here's one of the races to watch, the House of Delegate race. Erica Moore holding steady at 35% or 65% of the vote. I'm sorry. Erica Moore has 65% of the vote to Rick Atkinson's 35%.
Let me go and find that one again.
And this race is pretty held steady to these numbers all night long.
Yeah, pretty much. Right now, 1,001 for Erica Moore, 540 for Rick Atkinson. Again, that's 13 of the 18 in early voting here in Roane County. We don't have any updates from Work County yet, so that'll be interesting.
Right. And there's still some precincts out there, and it's still within the realm of possibility, but the way this trend so far has gone, it looks like it's going to go Erica Moore's way. If it
stays the way it's going.
If the last 5 precincts continue to mirror what we've seen so far tonight. Switching over to the Democrat ticket, President Biden still in the lead at 72%. Next in line was Jason Michael Palmer at 15%. Then you have Dean Phillips pulling 5%, and then tied at 4% is Stephen P. Lyons and Mondo Perez Cerrado.
Yeah, very similar from Roane County to the state. Right now, 387 for Biden. Nobody else even come close to 100 votes. He's leading the statewide race by 30,000 votes, 75% of the vote for Joe Biden.
For U.S. Senator, this is, again, another tight race to watch. Glenn Elliott right now is in the lead at 40% of the vote. Zachary Shrewsbury pulling 36% of the vote, and Don Blankenship pulling 24% of the vote.
Yeah, 221 for Elliott to 202 for Shrewsbury in Roane County, 136 for Blankenship. Right now in the statewide race, Elliott, though, has a much bigger lead than that, 6,771 votes for him over Shrewsbury. And again, that's with just 32% of the precincts complete.
Wow. For House of Representatives, 1st Congressional District, this one's been a blowout all night. Chris Bob Reed pulling in 72% of the vote to Jim Umberger's 28%.
Yeah, very similar statewide, 375 to 147 for Reed in Roane County. Right now, 59% of the vote for Reed statewide, leading by over 3,700 votes.
For Attorney General, Richie Robb is in the lead right now, 64% to Teresa Torsiva's 36%. Again, that trend's been holding pretty steady all night long.
Let me go back there and find that one. There it is. Okay, 344 for Richie Robb, 195 for Torsiva. That's the trend that has been bucked here in Roane County. It's heavy right now in favor of Robb, but statewide, it's a close race, 55% in favor of Torsiva. She's leading by 4,500 votes.
Wow. So for the nonpartisan ballot of the judge of Georgia, I can really talk.
Well, I'm glad you're talking.
Yes, judge of the Intermediate Court of Appeals, Division 1. Again, another huge lead. These numbers are pretty much stayed steady all night. S. Ryan White pulling 75% of the vote to Michael Schultz, 16%, and Elgene McCardle pulling 9% of the vote.
I was taking a look down there, and S. Ryan White has a huge lead in Roane County, obviously, 1,347 to the next best of 279. That's exactly the same as it is. In fact, it's even worse in Roane County for the rest of them. White leading at 58% of the vote. He is leading by over 42,000 votes.
Wow. For the 5th Judicial Circuit, Division III Circuit Judge, Anita Harold Ashley pulling in 66% of the vote to Joshua Downey's 34%.
And take a look at this. 1464 for Ashley and 770 for Downey. That is almost double the lead in Roane County. We do have a quick update, though, as you mentioned when we came on, for the Jackson County. It's still a close race over there in Jackson County.
Yeah.
But they've got, 25 of the 30 precincts?
Yeah, last count we had was 25 of the 30 precincts. Josh was in the lead by 100 votes over there, but Anita is holding strong over in Roane County. So it's going to be interesting. We haven't heard from Calhoun or Mason, and Calhoun isn't reporting until they get all the precincts in. So those now.
Stick with us. How about that?
Yeah, this is one of those races we was talking about. It could go either way. You don't really know where you're at. And my contact in Jackson County says just hold tight. Next up will probably be the last reports of the night out of Jackson County. So hold on tight, gang. It's a wild ride.
Hey, really quickly, I had a question. Somebody asked if we could give an update on the number of votes for Juliana Penfold, and I wanted to go ahead and get that in.
Okay.
I saw that a bit ago. Let me take a look here. So Juliana Penfold, unopposed as the Democrat for that House of Delegates 15th district seat. 460 votes right now for her unopposed. That's a good sign for her.
Yes. And that's, again, how many? 13 out of
13 of 18.
So for the Family Court Judge, 4th Family Court Circuit, Division 1, Betty Gregory still in the lead at 65% to Ted Davington's 35%.
And again, that's a big lead for Gregory in Roane County, 1,198 to 632. I was looking to see if I had that. I don't have that on my list here, though, so I'll have to find that some other way.
Okay. Magistrate, the lead just keeps growing here.
Yeah.
Ron White ahead at 81% to Terry Bradshaw's 91%. Drew, I think after this last update, I think we could pretty much.
It'd be pretty tough to overcome the lead of 1,300 votes. 1,764 for the incumbent Ron White, 420 for Terry Bradshaw in that race.
For County Commissioner, this one's holding steady. Not a runoff, but holding steady. Caleb Greathouse still in the lead at 62% to Andy Corcoran's 38%.
Yeah, Greathouse with a lead of 940 votes to 570 for the incumbent, Andrew Corcoran.
For Conservation District Supervisor, this is another one that's been holding steady all night. David Goff at 64% to Russell Wade's 36%.
1,198 votes for Goff, 674 for Russell Wade.
Okay, so on the Board of Education levy, the lead for against the levy has grown to 57%, because I think the last one was 54%.
Yes.
So we've grown 3% against the levy to 43% for the levy.
1,144 votes against, 874.
Yes. And those are all the numbers we have right now. Now, we haven't gotten reports in the last little bit. However, everybody that lives in Roane County knows how Roane County goes, and some of these folks, it takes a little bit to get here.
Yeah, we're talking about the outlying areas like the Newton area, the Walton area. It takes about 30, 35 minutes sometimes to get here once they finish and close up everything. So we have 13 of the 18 precincts reporting all those numbers that we have. And, again, the early voting is included in all that as well. We have numbers from Roane County. We are looking for numbers still. Calhoun County won't give numbers. We've got Katie White over there working hard on that until they are completely done with their precincts. We'll get those numbers towards the end of the evening. We'll add those to the numbers, of course, for that big race for the 5th Judicial Circuit Division III judge between Anita Ashley and Josh Downey. We've got some updates coming in, just 5 more precincts available in in Jackson County for that. Then we still got Mason County we need to add up for that one.
Yes.
And then, of course, in the Republican side for the 15th District House of Delegates, we still got Work County. We need some of those numbers coming in. But again, folks, we are going to be here until it's all said and done here tonight.
Yes.
None of this will be official until they do the canvassing, but we've got a pretty good idea on some of these races that are playing out as we go. We're going to send it back to the studio to Marissa. She's going to play some more music for you guys while we wait for the final 5 precincts to come in. And, folks, stick around with us. Again, if you are on YouTube and you are on Facebook, do not be afraid afraid to ask us a question. We run through these numbers very quickly, so if you want to know something that you may not have caught, just send us a quick comment. We've got the numbers right in front of us, and we'll send those numbers out to you as quickly as we can get them to you. Going to be about 5 or 10 more minutes on the radio. While they play some music, we'll come back here, and we'll have continued coverage on WVRC of the 2024 primary election results.
All right, so here on Facebook, Kimberly Huffman, do you have the numbers for the presidents? Absolutely, we do. So I will run through these real quickly for you. I'll pull these up here. On the Democrat ticket for president, President Biden ahead by 72% to Jason Michael Palmer at 15%, Dean Phillips 5%, and then Stephen Lyons and Mondo Perez Cerrado tying at 4%. And then on the Republican ticket, Donald Trump is in the lead at 89%. And then next is Nikki Haley at 9%, Ryan Binkley and Rachel Swift sharing 1%, and then David Stuckenberg pulling in less than 1% of the vote. So that is the number on that. Now, while we have a few minutes to sit here and breathe, I have some totals I'm going to throw out at everybody. As of right now, with the 13 of the 18 precincts reporting, the total ballots cast was 2,332 ballots so far. 1,313 of those were cast today on Election Day. 966 were submitted on early votes and 53 absentee ballots so far. And a breakdown of that, 1,597 of those were Republican, 647 of those were Democrat, 4 were Mountain Party, and 84 of those were nonpartisan. For, as of right now, a total voter turnout of 26.98% of the registered voters in Roane County.
I'll give some expanded numbers for, who was it, Kimberly Huffman asking about the numbers for president?
Yes.
If you're looking for actual votes, you saw Roane County's vote totals for 13 precincts. The statewide race right now for these primaries, 41% of the primaries have been cast here in the state of West Virginia. Right now, on the Republican ticket, Donald Trump running away with it, as we would expect, 87% of the votes to 11% for Nikki Haley. He has 96,334, leading by 84,253. On the Democrat side, Joe Biden, no surprise here, leading huge. On the Democrat side, 74% of the votes, Jason Michael Palmer with 10%. Joe Biden with 39,058 votes. He leads by 33,845 statewide. And again, that's 41% of the precincts in. I assume that they're going to call those for primaries, but we kind of expected that was going to be the case.
Right. Yeah, NBC News was reporting that about 10 minutes before the polls had closed that President Trump was going to win the Republican side and President Biden was going to win the Democrat side.
Donna Mae, are you talking about the judicial race with Anita Ashley and Josh Downey? Because there are some other judicial races that we have. I'll go ahead and go through the judicial race for that 5th Circuit Division III. Right now in Roane County, with 13 of the 18 precincts completed and early voting, Anita Ashley has a pretty big lead in Roane County over Josh Downey. And again, whoever wins this, there is no opposition. So whoever wins this in this primary is going to have that. So right now, just looking at Roane County's numbers, Anita Ashley has a big lead. Over in Jackson County, there are still 5 precincts to go. We have 25 of the 30. Over there, it is Josh Downey with a slim lead. Last we had was like
1653 to 1543. So you're looking about 110 votes between the two.
That cuts into Anita Ashley's lead a little bit here in Roane County, and we still have numbers that we're waiting for with Mason and Calhoun County. The Calhoun County numbers we know will not be in until the end of the precincts. We've got Katie White over there helping us out, getting some of those numbers when they come in. We'll try to tally all those up, what we can get, and then we'll have an idea, a little closer idea, of what that race is going to look like towards the end of the night.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Calhoun County. So we would love to report all of Calhoun races because there's some races to watch over there. Actually, Katie gave us a list before we started.
We had a question about, of course, that sheriff's race between Graham Knight, who is the incumbent, and Jeff Starcher. Again, we'll get those numbers to you faster than anybody else can as soon as they come to Katie's phone.
Right.
And once they get there, we'll have them here. But we've got to wait for those precincts to fill up and be done.
Right.
Then they'll send out.
Right.
The,
Yeah.
the
So it's a
numbers.
hurry up and wait situation. And
That's why we're here.
Right. Right. Yeah. So we would love to report those, but we got to wait for the county clerk over in Calhoun to release those numbers, and that's just how the counties operate. Some of them give you throughout the evening. Some wait to say no. We're going to send one final one end all be all, which is fine. Now, if you're a candidate, it doesn't help your nerves any.
No, it does not.
But on this side of things, as broadcasters, we're going. We want this right now, but you know. The county clerks have a very rough job, a very stressful job.
Yes.
Make sure everything's done properly. So
and they know everybody's waiting. So
yeah.
You get that stress level added to it. We do appreciate the questions, though, folks. Continue to bring us the questions. If you missed something, if you want any updates, I've got my phone out right now. We have got multiple screens here in front of us. We're looking at the statewide numbers. We've got some NBC News stuff. We're looking for national or nationwide numbers on certain things. If you have any questions, we're here to try to provide you the information that you want, be it Roane County numbers, be it the statewide numbers, or whatever you're looking for. We're trying to get that to you as quickly as it is put out, be it a statewide or local races. So, and again, we're still waiting on the last 5 precincts here for Roane County. We have 13 of the 18, the numbers that we just looked through on the radio. Those represent 13 of the 18 precincts plus early voting. So there's still 5 precincts out there. We assume those are on the outer edges of Roane County, and those will come in when they come in, and we'll get maybe a bulk results of 18 of 18 precincts. That's kind of how it ends up working out, because all of those outlying precincts are about the same distance from here.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. You get slammed with Spencer and Reedy and Gandyville and 119, and then. Oh, I see police lights. Does that mean we have escorts coming in for reports or something else going on? Yeah. So then you get this gap of everybody coming in and processing all these precincts. Then you get this gap of nothing, and then all of a sudden it's like a second wave of precincts coming in.
Now here's a good message for you, Joe, from our buddies.
I like it.
Listen, Joe McDonald can do a lot of things. I'm telling you what. I should call him my new Steve Kornacki here tonight, as he's got graphics to look through. The only difference is we're not showing the graphic with him pointing at the graphics.
Well, I was thinking today, after we got done today, I was like, we could put a green screen right back here, and then we could have all kinds of fun. And is this what I believe I see? I believe it is. Thank you, man.
I'm telling you what, she tries to hide from the camera at all points, but as soon as she walks out of the screen, she's right there.
Yeah, I'm hunkering down to make sure Shelly gets on camera. Thank you, Shelly.
So what do we have?
We have 18 of 18.
So here's what we're going to do, folks. We are going to let Joe McDonald put the new numbers in, and we will have at least the local races done.
In Roane County, yes.
In Roane County, done. And then we'll be waiting for those other things to come in. But, Joe, I'm going to let you do that. We're going to go radio silent for a second. I'm going to go ahead and call the radio station. We're going to get ready to go live on the radio. We have 18 of 18 precincts here in Roane County. We'll have the final numbers that we're going to get tonight for Roane County, and then we'll continue to work through as we wait for the updated numbers from Jackson, Calhoun, and Wirt and Mason County. So we'll be back in just a bit, folks. Folks, getting ready to go live again on the radio. Hang tight with us. Where's podcasting? Don't worry about it, Toby. Oh, and Jasmine D'Agostino, coffee. And that's it. That is all that's in the big cup. Coffee. My blood type is caffeine. We welcome you all back to the radio side of things, folks. This is Andrew Miller, joined by Joe McDonald from A&M Digital Technologies. We've been here since 6:30, patiently and anxiously awaiting the results as they were coming in. Did not get any results until about 8:15. Of course, they had early voting numbers that they had to get to as well, and they had to get all the numbers squared away. We had the first 4 precincts in at that point. We've gotten 4 more at that point, and then most recently we had 13 of the 18 precincts in for Roane County again. That's just for Roane County and early voting. We now have the unofficial final precinct results. We have 18 of 18 precincts in Roane County, and Joe McDonald has been again violently slapping away at the keyboard there to get all those numbers put in to the graphics for those of you who are watching us on YouTube and Facebook. And so you'll get the graphics here. We're going to run through the numbers for you all. This is all 18 precincts in Roane County. Again, there are some races we're going to stick around for. We're going to try to get numbers for Calhoun County. There are some races over there once they get finaled. We're going to get some numbers for the actual Calhoun County races, but
Yes,
there's also that very hotly contested race for 5th Judicial Circuit Judge in Division III between Anita Ashley and Josh Downey. We need the final numbers from Calhoun County. We do have the final numbers from Jackson County on that. We'll still need the numbers from Mason County on that. And we're talking about the delegate race for District 15 on the Republican side. Juliana Penfold on the Democratic side, unopposed. So she will await the winner of Rick Atkinson and Erica Moore. We will still need some numbers from Work County on that one. But these are going to be the Roane County numbers. And as we go through these nationwide and statewide races, I'll give you guys the update as quickly as I can get them here. I'll give you the updates for the statewide version of these races. Most of these races have been similar to Roane County results, but there's a couple that have bucked the trend.
Yeah. That's where it gets really interesting is, okay, did Roane County fall in line with everybody else, or did Roane County take its own path? So we'll see what happens here with all these races. So starting out on the Republican ticket, winner Donald J. Trump for the presidential candidate on the Republican ticket. That's no surprise. We all knew that going in. The question was, how big of a gap was he going to win by? So for the final breakdown, Donald Trump pulls 90% of the Republican vote. Next is Nikki Haley pulling 8% of the vote. She followed right behind all night long. Rachel Swift and Ryan Binkley splitting votes, and then David Stuckenberg pulling in less than 1% of the vote out of Roane County.
Yeah, for that race, 18-15. That's the number of votes in Roane County for Donald Trump, 165 for Nikki Haley. That's very close to the numbers statewide. 87% of the vote for Donald Trump, leading by over 114,000 votes. That was to be expected.
Right. All right. Next up, for U.S. Senator on the Republican ticket, the Metro News called this long before we did. Jim Justice wins the Republican election for U.S. Senator. Next in line, following behind was Alex Minnie with 24% of the vote. Jim Justice pulls 68% of the vote. Zane Lawhorn pulls 2% of the vote. Brian McKinney pulls 2% of the vote. Janet McNulty pulls 2% of the vote. And then Brian Byrd pulling 1% of the vote.
Final tallies in Roane County. Jim Justice with 1366. Nobody else combined got up to 100 votes. 62% statewide is the lead for Justice, which is why they called that on West Virginia Metro News. 91,120 votes right now. 55% of the precincts have been tallied. He has a 52,000-plus vote lead.
For U.S. House of Representatives, 1st Congressional District, Carol Miller wins with 67% of the vote to Derek Evans, 33% of the vote. And she held that pretty steady all night long.
Yeah, and it is showing across the state of West Virginia, too. Miller, final tallies for Roane County, winning Roane County 1,273 votes to just 625 for Derek Evans. Statewide, 46% of the precincts in. She has a 64% to 36% lead, over 17,000 vote lead for Carol Miller. Looks like she is on her way again to staying the incumbent in that race.
For the governor race, man, this
Wow.
Yeah, this is a nail biter, and this is a trend seen statewide. Drew's going to have to break down the numbers to see who actually pulls this one out, because Moore Capito and Chris Miller tie percentage-wise, not vote-wise, percentage-wise, with 28% of the vote, with Mac Warner pulling in 24% of the vote, Patrick Morrissey pulling in 17% of the vote, Casey Christian pulling 2% of the vote, and Mitch Roberts pulling in 1% of the vote. So, Drew, who actually won on the Republican ticket?
So, a difference of 12 votes officially. Well, unofficially for Roane County.
Yeah, unofficially.
Moore Capito with 585, 573 for Chris Miller, 490 for Mac Warner, and then 355 for Patrick Morrissey, who has been in fourth place throughout in Roane County. Those are the final Roane County numbers. If you look statewide, though, it is Patrick Morrissey with a very close lead still. Now, that's 55% of the precincts reporting Patrick Morrissey leading with 33% to 28% for Moore Capito, and then Chris Miller with 20%. So there's a discrepancy there between Roane County and the statewide race. Still within reach for Moore Capito right now. The lead for Morrissey is 7,000 votes, 7,000 plus. So still a lot to be determined in that race.
Right, and here's the thing. In Roane County, there's a 10-vote difference between the two. Between now and Canvass Day, depending on how many provisional ballots are counted and accepted and how many late absentees are counted, that small of a margin could literally flip.
Oh, we got some
Calhoun County.
We got some Calhoun County numbers.
Yes, thank you, Katie.
All right. Well, what do we have right now for Calhoun numbers? Are these Calhoun races only, Katie, or are these some of these the final statistics for the big race that we're looking at for the Fifth Circuit Judge Judicial?
These are just
Calhoun. Okay,
yes.
Just Calhoun numbers.
All Calhoun results.
Well, let's run through a few of those. We'll stop what we're doing right there. I know a lot of people wanting to know. What do we have first? We have the County Commission race between Roger Probst and Araya White.
Yeah, and Alice Miller Holmes. Roger pulls out the lead with 521 votes to Alice Miller Holmes' 337 votes, and Araya White pulling in 239 votes for a total of 1,097 votes.
Oh, and here's the big one people wanted to know about, which is the sheriff's race between the incumbent Graham Knight and Jeff Starcher. What do you have for numbers? And these are final numbers, is that correct?
Yeah, Graham Knight pulls in 67.98% of the vote with 794 of those votes to Jeff Starcher's 32.02% at 374 votes.
And again, these are unofficial numbers, but the trend looks like Graham Knight will repeat as sheriff over there. Katie is scrolling down for us. We do appreciate that. We did have a magistrate race going on over there in Calhoun County as well. Division I magistrate between Maria Arnold and Richard Postlethwaite. Postlethwaite was the incumbent. What do we have there, Joe?
Okay, now this one is for the Fifth Circuit Judge race.
Oh, okay. This is the Calhoun numbers for that race between Anita Ashley and Josh Downey.
Anita Ashley pulls out the victory over in Calhoun County with 64.78 of the vote, which means 995 votes for Anita Harold Ashley. And Joshua Downey pulling in 35.22% of the votes with 541 votes. So Anita Ashley pulls Calhoun County.
So she has won Calhoun County and 4 Roane County. If you want to go ahead and pull that up since we're talking about it, Joe, let's look at the final numbers for Roane County in that one. Again, these are unofficial finishing totals, but in Roane County, the trend has stayed for that Roane County race. Anita Ashley with 1,881 to 982 for Josh Downey. So if you look at it, with the big lead in Roane County, the lead for Anita Ashley in
Calhoun County,
and you got some update with
out of Jackson County.
30 of 30 precincts in Jackson County reporting, and that one flipped right at the end.
Yes, Jackson County. This is why you never say never, because Anita Harold Ashley pulled out the victory out of Jackson County by 12 votes.
Wow, so
Josh
close.
Downey had 2,701 votes coming out of Jackson County, and then Anita Harold Ashley pulled out the victory in Jackson County with 2,713 votes.
Well, so you look at those 3 of the 4 counties. We're still waiting for Mason County numbers, but you look at those unofficial totals, and you're like, well, Josh is going to have to pull a ton of votes from Mason County because he is down a little bit in that race. So we'll wait and see what those numbers may come out to be. But we wanted to get those Calhoun numbers for people because we know that they were very excited about that. Obviously, Graham Knight with a big lead right now over Jeff Starcher, and, of course, they'll canvass all those and some other numbers. Did you find that magistrate race?
Yes. Rick Postaway pulls out the victory at 54.47% of the vote, totaling 878 votes to Maria Arnold, pulling in 45.53 votes, or 53% of the votes, pulling in 734 votes.
A relatively close battle between those two in Magistrate Division 1. So let's transition back here now after we looked at those local races. Where did we leave off?
We left off on... We discussed governor, so now back to Secretary of State. So Chris Warner wins Roane County with 52% of the vote. Following behind him is Doug Scaff Jr. with 26%, Brian Wood pulling 17%, and Ken Reed pulling 5% of the vote out of Roane County.
Well, that has stayed very similar, not in Roane County only, but across the state. In Roane County, the final numbers, Chris Warner doubling up Doug Scaff Jr., 947 to 486, 306 for Brian Wood in that race. If you look at the statewide version of that race, with 58% of the precincts reporting Chris Warner a very big lead, 62,867 over Doug Scaff. That's 46% to 22%. He is leading by 33+ thousand votes, and it looks like Chris Warner is well on his way.
Yeah, we can almost call that one, but but again,
in our little cocoon here.
Yeah, of course we say that, and then one of the big counties will call in, and something big will change. For state auditor on the Republican side, Mark Hunt pulls out the victory out of Roane County with 63% of the vote. Tricia Jackson pulling 11% of the vote. Caleb Hanna pulling 17% of the vote, and Eric Householder pulling 9% of the vote.
That's 62%, you say? It's a much closer race statewide, but still Mark Hunt in the lead. From Roane County, the final results, 1,138 for Mark Hunt, and the next closest was Hanna with 298, Jackson with 192, and Householder with 171. Little closer, yet still Mark Hunt leading big here with 58% of the precincts reporting in the state. He has a 38% to 26% lead, 49,537 votes. He leads by 15,000 plus. Now, there is a Democrat in the general election for that. That is Marianne Roebuck Clater. So that will continue into the general election.
Yes, so Mark Hunt's journey for auditor is just beginning. He won round 1. Now he's on to round 2. For Commissioner of Agriculture, this has been a close race of the night. And this one, after we got out of the first 4 precincts, it flipped and pretty much stayed solid the rest of the night. Kent Linhart pulls out the victory out of Roane County with 45% of the vote, to a very close race between him and Joshua Higginbotham at 41%, and Roy Ramey pulling in 14% of the vote on that one.
Well, it's really only close in Roane County. Kent Linhart with 801 to 733 for Higginbotham, just 238 for Ramey. Here's the statewide results at the moment. 58% of the precincts reporting Linhart leading 52% to 30. He has more than a 27,000 vote lead.
Wow. So for Attorney General on Republican, J.B. McCuskey pulls out the victory with 66% of the vote to Mike Stewart's 34%.
So on the Republican side, McCuskey almost doubling up Stewart throughout the night. 1,193 votes in Roane County to 622 for Stewart. Again, 60 to 40% lead for McCuskey statewide. He leads by nearly 27,000 votes on the Republican side.
For Member House of Delegates, 15 delegate district, Erica Moore pulls out the victory out of Roane County with 64% of the vote. We're still waiting on the Work County results on that one, with Rick Atkinson's 36%.
You see if I could pull up the county by county. Nah, it's not going to let me do that right now. I'm trying to quick play that one. So in Roane County, at least, again, there's still Work County results to go. But Erica Moore has held a pretty healthy lead throughout. She finishes up with 1,299 unofficially to just 727 for Rick Atkinson in Roane County.
Now switching over to the Democrat ticket, President Biden, no surprise there. President Biden pulling 70% of the vote on there. Following behind him was Jason Michael Palmer with 16% of the vote, and then Stephen Lyons and Dean Phillips splitting the vote. See, that one changed a little bit because it was Mondo Perez, Cerrado, and Lyons splitting the vote most of the night, but then here at the end it flipped. So Dean Phillips and Stephen Lyons splitting the last percentages to Mando Perez pulling up the end on that one.
Well, Joe Biden, no surprise, 458 votes in Roane County to 104 for Jason Michael Palmer. Somebody topped 100 there in that one. Statewide, a very similar number, 73% of the vote for Joe Biden. He's got 51,898. That's with 60% of precincts reporting. He has over 44,000 vote lead. We know that's going to happen. And again, we know that the trends in West Virginia, at least, heavily in favor of Trump the last time. And it looks kind of like that. He had 1,855 votes in Roane County, only 458 for Joe Biden in Roane County. So those trends seem to be continuing over the last couple elections.
Yes. For U.S. Senator, this was, again, a close one. Glenn Elliott pulls out the victory with 40% of the vote to Zachary Shrewberry, 36%, and Don Blankenship pulling in 24% of the vote.
Even a little better for Glenn Elliott as far as statewide is concerned, but he does win it here in Roane County, 269 to 248. So that was a pretty close race throughout. And Blankenship with 166. Statewide, Elliott has a 48% to 35% lead, 36,374 for Glenn Elliott. That's a 61% completed precinct. So he has a lead of nearly 10,000 votes.
Wow. For House of Representatives, 1st Congressional District, Chris Bob Reed pulls out the victory. No surprise there. 73% of the vote to Jim Umberger's 27%.
Now, that's a lot closer statewide. 462 for Chris Bob Reed to just 170 here in Roane County for Umberger. Statewide, though, this is still a close race. 56% for Chris Bob Reed to 44% for Umberger. The lead is 3,500 votes plus.
Wow.
So it's still very close with 61%.
That shocks me considering how the numbers ran in the county.
Actually, that's 51% of the precincts reporting for that race.
Wow.
I do apologize.
All right, so for Attorney General, Richie Robb pulls out the victory here in Roane County, 64% to Teresa Torsiva's 36%.
And that is one that has bucked the trend for us here. So Robb has had the lead the whole time here, and he basically doubled up Torsiva, 419 to 234, the final numbers in Roane County. But Torsiva's leading in the statewide race with 62% reporting, 55 to 45%. She has a lead of nearly 7,000 votes.
Wow.
That's one of the ones that has bucked the trend throughout tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so for Judge of Intermediate Court of Appeals Division 1, S. Ryan White, no surprise, pulled out the victory on this one, 75% of the vote to Michael S. Schultz's 16% and L. Jean McCardle's 9%.
Go down there and find that one. That was at the bottom of the list there. So 75% in favor of S. Ryan White here. He has led huge throughout in Roane County. 1,734 votes in Roane County to just 364 for Schultz. McCardle coming in with 211. Statewide, a little closer, but still not close. Let's just say that. S. Ryan White leading with 57% of the votes, 111,784 to 24% for McCardle. He leads by 65,000 plus.
Yeah, you can call that one.
Probably.
Okay, and again, the Fifth Judicial Circuit Judge race, Anita Harold Ashley pulls out the victory with 66% to Joshua Downey's 34%.
In Roane County, the final numbers, 1,881 for Ashley, 982 for Downey. You add that to the very thin 12-vote margin for Jackson County, and then the numbers doubling up in Calhoun County. We're still waiting again for the Mason County numbers, and that will close out that race.
Yeah, Josh is going to have to really work hard in Mason County to pull out from here.
Yeah.
So for the family court judge, Fourth Circuit, Betty Gregory, she's led all night. She pulled out the victory in Roane County with 64% of the vote to Ted Davington's 36% of the vote. And that was kind of close to the same thing over in Calhoun County as well.
Yeah, final totals here in Roane County, 1,499 for Gregory, 853 for Davington.
For magistrate, Ron White wins a 77%, held steady all night long to Terry Bradshaw's 23%.
Yeah, 2,182 votes to 588. White receiving almost more votes than anybody else in a race. He almost got to 23. The only other was Jason Bennett. He was unopposed. He got 2335 in vote total. So Ron White really doing a big job there. 2182 to 588 for Bradshaw.
Wow. For County Commissioner, Caleb Greathouse pulls out the victory with 63% of the vote to incumbent Andrew Corcoran's 37%.
And that was one that we had our eyes on earlier. You know, Corcoran, the incumbents, and Greathouse, the newbie, if you want to call it that,
right,
to politics. And Greathouse has held the lead. He had a 100, then a 200, then a 400. It just kept building it towards the end. And Greathouse looks like he's going to earn the upset here with 1228 to Corcoran's 732.
For Conservation District Supervisor, David Goff wins with 63% of the vote to Russell Wade's 37%.
1,521 votes for Goff, 890 for Russell Wade.
And last and most certainly not least, the education levy, the board education levy, failed at 59% of the vote.
Yeah, 1,532 against 1,073 for. We saw that it was close, like after the first four precincts, but it started to just build more and more and more, and so that levy will fail here tonight in Roane County.
And that concludes the races that we have for Roane County. These are 18 of all 18 precincts reported, sir.
Well, we've still got a little bit of time. We're going to take a look at some numbers, hopefully in Mason County. If we can get those numbers for you, we're going to continue to talk about these races. We'll wrap things up as well. But first, we've got a very, I would assume a very relieved. We'll have to wait and see. We have a stress-free now county clerk with us. Those of you out in Radio Land, you can't see it, but Cena McDonald right here with us. Cena, number one, we'd like to say congratulations. You guys ran tremendous thing here, a tremendous an election for primaries. And, of course, this is just setting you guys up for the general election coming in November. But with these new machines that you guys had, I was talking to Joe earlier. I said, I got a chance to look at those new machines, really like the way they were, like the way they happened. And you guys, you spit out these results as fast as they come in.
Yes, we did. So it makes it handy to have a thumb drive with all of the results on that. They come from the machine that tabulates all of the paper ballots. So it really is a paper ballot. So you go and you put in, and it does spit out a ballot that you can see, and it does count. And all of those go onto that thumb drive, and I just take that thumb drive, plug it into the computer. Their software reads it. And we double check the numbers because it also prints off a report. So we just double check, make sure all those numbers match, and we're good to go.
Did you have any issues with these new machines leading up to the primary?
There was a few that was expected. Since everybody was new, we also have a lot of things running through our head on ways that we're going to make it better for the general. So there's going to be a lot more little things that we're going to do to try to make it better for us.
I tell you what, it takes a group, a team of individuals to pull this off the way you guys pull it off. You guys have got a great staff here at the county clerk's office.
We do. It's turned out great. Lindsay, my elections clerk, was here, and she done a fabulous job. She's been with me every step of the way. And then everybody throughout the courthouse came, and I even had some that had retired that came to come back.
Oh, you know they can't get away from it, right?
No, they can't. But they knew what they were doing. So even though we had different machines, it was the same results. It was the same, you have to bring things in, make sure everything's checked in, sign everybody off, and, just make sure everybody had that flow going. And I believe it worked out pretty well.
Well, so let's talk about what comes next for your office, what comes next for these these results. They're unofficial tonight, so what is next for you all?
Next would be canvas on Monday, and we'll start at 9 a.m. We've got to go over all of the results, and we have provisionals that we need to go over. And then I'm also going to probably sit down and try to have a talk and make sure that we discuss that the new machine, how well the new machines did.
Yeah, that's something that's you never know until you go through an election.
Right.
And this primary election, I think, ran extremely smoothly for your office and hopefully for the rest of the people who got those new machines in the state of West Virginia. Of course, got to thank Castro and Harris for helping with that. You guys, of course, learning the new machines, teaching the poll workers the new machines.
Yes.
There's a lot that goes into this.
And I think that they've also learned more just by doing. So that makes it even better, which is the best way to learn. Because, we've worked in IT. The best way to learn is to run into those problems and figure out how to fix them.
Unless you're me, and then I call Joe, and he runs into the problems for me.
Joe's everybody's phone call.
Yeah. So this, from our side of things, we got these results just, other than the gap waiting for the outside of the county,
right.
which
it is,
it's expected.
That's expected.
But for being a new county clerk at new machines, primary election, from our side of things,
I think it went well.
Yeah, Drew and I can't complain.
Good.
I
had predicted 9:30.
That's pretty darn close. I got to give you credit.
I had it honestly, and I'll bet you that in November will be even faster.
Well, there won't be 7,000 candidates for governor.
Yeah.
That's right, exactly.
The 1v1.
Yeah, and you won't have a million pages to go through on the ballot to go through and make your choice.
Yeah, absolutely. We're speaking on the radio with County Clerk Cena McDonald. Again, this is your first ever election as the county clerk. Not that you're a stranger to this stuff. You've been involved with this for quite a while, nonetheless.
But on a different point of view.
Yes.
I knew what to do as soon as everybody come in and they started handing me the thumb drives. But everything prior to has been
interesting.
Yeah, that would be a good word for it. Joe has lived a rough life the past few weeks. Just trying to make sure everything was in order and where we needed it to be.
Well, I was just getting ready to ask you, after this day and after the prep work to get to this, he's going to have to draw you a bubble bath. You're telling me that he gets one?
Sure. after he gives me mine.
Well, Cena, we do appreciate all the access that you guys give us. Thank you to your workers for bringing us these updated results as quickly as they can. Thanks to all the poll workers who around the precincts here, they volunteer their time and effort. I get a little bit of money for it, I guess, but they do a lot of volunteer hours.
In all honesty, though, they are doing something that is vital to what happens in our lives.
Yes.
So yes.
Now, one thing people should be aware of, if they are interested in being a poll worker for the general election, how do they get a hold of you?
You guys are more than welcome to give me a call at 304-927-2860 or stop in and see me, because I can talk to you a little bit more and make sure that you really are interested.
She can always
because it is a long day.
Yes.
Yes, I could always use more help, and it is a long day.
I had to give up one of my employees for the
Yes,
day.
you did, and she did a great job.
Absolutely, we appreciate it, Cena. You've earned a rest whenever you happen to get it.
Thank you.
It'll
be a little bit, but yes.
And it won't be done until, of course, the canvassing beginning on Monday, and then you guys will rest, recover, recharge, and get
Turn
ready
right around,
for
do it again.
the general election coming up in November.
That's right.
Absolutely. Cena McDonald, our county clerk, great job here for your first official primary election coverage.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, Joe, let's go through it one final time here with the numbers that we have.
All right.
And we'll give everybody out there just a little bit of time if they have any final questions for us on the radio or on our Facebook and YouTube feeds. We will go through the races that we have in Roane County, and also we will give you the updated numbers that we can get for you from the statewide version of all these races. Of course, still waiting for all these races to be official, and you can follow, again, definitely follow WV Metro News. That's what I am using currently to give us those statewide numbers for our version of these races. So let's go through them one final time, and if we happen to see anybody with any questions, we will go ahead and get those to them as well.
Okay, yes. Tanya Wilson asked, who won the prosecutor in Calhoun County?
Okay, that was between Roger Probst and Aria White. Those are both Republicans.
No. Katie's telling us no. Prosecuting attorney.
Oh, I've got county commission. My bad. You would think I could read by this point in my life. So
Okay.
Katie White is over there reminding us that I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, so Katie said that that the prosecutor race in Calhoun County, one candidate was Democrat, one candidate was Republican. So they each won the primary. So that race will be determined in November.
Okay, for the sheriff, obviously Graham Knight, the incumbent, almost doubling up Jeff Starcher, the incumbent, and Richard Postlethwaite for Magistrate Division 1. Looked like he was headed to the victory over Maria Arnold. So that's what we're looking at in those races that people were looking for.
Yes. All right, so we'll go back to the chart one last time.
Yeah,
sir?
one last time for the chart, and I'll try to update. We've got 72% precincts reporting in the state of West Virginia, so we'll have a little bit better updates and a little closer on those.
Okay. So for the Republican ticket, Donald Trump wins. No surprise there. 90% of the vote compared to everybody else. That was expected.
And, Joe, he's almost at 90% in the statewide with 72%, 88% to 10% for Nikki Haley. He leads by 139,946 votes.
For U.S. Senator, let me see. Jim Justice pulls out the victory. No surprise there.
Yeah, they called that immediately.
Yeah, 68% of the vote.
Yeah, and he's 61% throughout the state to just 27 for Alex Mooney. 107,314 votes at the moment with 72% reporting in West Virginia. He leads by almost 60,000 votes. So, yeah, that was called early.
For 1st Congressional District Republican, Carol Miller pulls out the victory with 67% of the vote.
And in West Virginia, 64% of the vote, very similar in Roane County to the state, to 36% for Derek Evans. She leads by 21,000 plus.
For the governor race, for on the Republican ticket, holy cow.
Good luck.
There was, percentage-wise, it literally got down to the number of votes. Moore Capito and Chris Miller were neck and neck on the chart here. You see both of them pulled 28% of the votes.
Yeah, Capito had that 12-vote lead in Roane County, but the fourth-place finisher in Roane County is still leading right now. That's Patrick Morrissey with 33% of the vote to Moore Capito's 28%, a 10,000-plus vote lead right now for Morrissey. That's with 72 precincts. There is still a lot to be determined on that Republican side. And, again, that's just the Republican side. Steve Williams, unopposed on the Democrat side. We're going to go at that with one-on-one at that point.
Yeah. For Secretary of State, Chris Warner pulls out the victory at 52% of the vote on this one.
Chris Warner, yeah. So a little closer here, still 72%, and he's got a pretty big lead with 72% in the state of West Virginia, 45% to 21 over Doug Scaff. Warner leading by almost 39,000 votes. That is not over, but it's getting.
Yeah,
that lady is warming up.
Yeah.
Yes, to say that.
For auditor, Mark Hunt pulls out a huge victory out of Roane County with 63% of the vote.
He leads by 18,000 plus, 38% over Householder with 26.
Which is interesting because Householder pulled the smallest amount out of Roane County.
Yeah, that is odd.
Yeah. For Commissioner of Agriculture, this again was a nail biter.
Yeah.
Kent Linhart pulled out the victory here, 45% of the vote compared to Josh Higginbotham's 41%.
Well, much closer here in Roane County than it is statewide still. 51% for Leonard and 31% for Higginbotham. It's a 30,000-plus vote lead for Leonard.
For Attorney General, J.B. McCuskey pulls out the victory at 66%.
Let me find that one real quick. Oh, that's up at the top, sorry. See, I've almost gotten to the point where I know where these things are. So what was it, 66 to 34?
Yes.
60% statewide to 40% right now. McCuskey leading by 31,000 plus.
For House of Delegates, 15 District, Erica Moore pulls out the victory here at 64%.
And let's take a look. Let me go down and find this one. Did get a word from our coworker and buddy over there in Sunny Cal. George Allen said he talked with the mayor over there, said they're having some issues with their voting machines. But let's take a look at what we've got here. 80% reporting, and I assume that is the Roane County reporting. Erica Moore leading 64% to 36%, 1540 to 871. So they do have some precincts from over in Work County and 2 precincts from Work County. We're still waiting for the last 5, but it'll be a long way to go for Rick Atkinson to make that up.
Yes. And honestly, with the Work County numbers, I don't know if there'd be that many, number-wise, that enough to be able to pull that back.
Yeah.
on the Democrat ticket, Joe Biden wins by a landslide 70%, which was everybody knew that going in.
And he's at 71% statewide, so the numbers mirroring each other there. 60,130, he leads by 50,000 plus votes. That was, again, as you said, no surprise.
For U.S. Senator, this was a close one. Glenn Elliott pulls out 40% of the victory over Zachary Shrewsbury at 36%.
Just a little bigger lead in the state as far as that's concerned. 77% complete in that one, 47% to 35%, a 10,000 plus vote lead for Glenn Elliott over Zach Shrewsbury.
For House of Representatives, 1st Congressional District, Chris Bob Reed pulls in 73%, led all night long.
Yeah, not quite as much of a blowout, but still, he's got a pretty healthy lead, 58% to 42% over Umberger, with 69% reporting the lead is 6,298 for Chris Bob Reed.
Attorney General Richie Robb pulled out the victory, pretty much held that all night long at 64%.
And this is the one that has bucked the trend in Roane County. He has a huge lead. He is not leading in the statewide race, although he is still close to Teresa Torres-Seva. She has a 54% to 46% lead. That's 78% reporting. 7,168 vote lead for Torres-Seva. So that who knows?
Yeah, it could swing either way.
Not one I'm going to call. How about that?
No. For the Judge of Intermediate Court of Appeals Division I, S. Ryan White pulls out a huge victory at 75% of the vote.
Yeah, same statewide, 58% for him to 23% for McCardle. He leads by 81,000 plus votes. He's going to win that one, let's just say.
Yeah, that one's safe to call. For Judges Circuit Court, 5th Judicial Circuit, Anita Harold Ashley pulls out 66% of the vote out of Roane County.
And again, that's a race that we have to follow with all the other counties. We've got we've got two others in. The lead doubled up here in Roane County. It was doubled up in Calhoun County for Ashley. A very close race in Jackson County. Downey led throughout, but in the final 5 precincts, Ashley took a 12-vote lead. Now, This doesn't include Mason County, but again, as we said, Downey going to have to make up a lot of ground there. I don't know if there's enough votes in.
Yeah. I don't know the numbers in Mason, so Mason's going to be interesting to see how either Josh is going to be able to pull the nose up, or Anita, how much a bigger win is Anita going to receive. For Family Court Judge, 4th Family Circuit Court Circuit Division I, Betty Gregory pulls out 64% of the vote on that one, and that was pretty much the same numbers over in Calhoun County.
Yeah, absolutely. 1499 in Roane County to 853, so looks like she is going to win that race.
For Magistrate, Ron White pulls out the victory, 77% to Terry Bradshaw's 23%.
2,182 votes for Ron White, 588 for Bradshaw. So it looks like Ron White and Jason Bennett, once again, will be our 2 magistrates.
For County Commissioner, Caleb Greathouse pulls the 63% of the vote to win for the county commissioner position.
I called that an upset earlier. I only mean upset in that, of course, Greathouse is a new person to politics, running for the first time, and he takes the seat on the county commission from the incumbent Andrew Corcoran. Final tallies there: 1228 for Greathouse, 732 for Corcoran.
For Conservation District Supervisor, David Goff pulls out the victory of 63%. Pretty much held that pretty steady all night to Russell Wade.
Yeah, same thing here. 1521 for David Goff to 890 for Russell Wade.
And then the Board of Education levy falls against the levy at 59% of the vote.
1532 against and 1,073 for. And those are your results here in Roane County, at least. Again, these are unofficial results. They'll canvass starting next Monday. They'll have the official results for Roane County and the state of West Virginia. For all these races, we do appreciate everyone, though, tuning in for this election coverage in the primary. And again, we're going to turn around ourselves in November. We're going to do this all again.
I was going to say, I had so much fun, Drew. Why don't we do this again in November?
I wouldn't miss it for the world. And again, it's going to be ratcheted up with the intensity, the mudslinging, the negativity, flying.
Yes.
Well, folks, that will do it for us here tonight. And again, if you missed anything, you're more than welcome to go back once we get done with these live streams. They'll be posted on YouTube. They'll be posted on our Facebook account. If you have any questions, just go through that if you would like to. And again, we invite you to tune in to West Virginia Metro News. Right now, they are updating statewide results as quickly as they get them in. They're already up in the 72 to 77% precincts reported. So those are a good place that you guys can go for that. I want to thank everybody here. Obviously, want to thank Cena McDonald, the county clerk. Want to thank all of her workers here who set us up nicely and have given us the results we needed to get those out to people.
And let us take over this whole space in the back of the record room.
We absolutely have taken over here.
Yes.
I want to personally thank my new worker, Marissa, who is up there still working, her first time working the board, and she has done a fantastic job. She's been there for 5 hours with us, working the board, making sure we get on the radio and on our streaming site. That's a huge deal for us.
Absolutely.
On top of that, we want to thank all the poll workers throughout the 18 precincts in Roane County. Want to thank all the people who helped us in the other counties. Want to thank Katie White, who has come here and volunteered her time to help us with the results from Calhoun, from the surrounding counties, and keeping us abreast of all those.
Yes, and I want to thank and shout out to Miss Suzette Lowe over in Jackson County, working with the Jackson County newspaper over there to get us the results for the circuit judge contest over there. So thank you.
Any final words?
Let's do it again in November.
We will do it again in November. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us here tonight from the Roane County Roane County Courthouse. We appreciate everyone for tuning in for us. We want to invite you to keep abreast of Roane County action here on WVRC. Follow us on Facebook. We've got information always coming out for you guys. And follow us on YouTube for any of our live stuff that we do. Follow us on TikTok. We'll be on there from time to time. And make sure that you get out and vote. That's number one here. The reason we're here is we're excited about this. We've got a general election coming up in November. And we hope that everybody comes out for that. We'll be here with live coverage again.
All right, and we'll do it again then.
For all of us here at WVRC, Joe McDonald, my go-to here. I'm Andrew Miller.